Why aren't you listening to me? Doesn't anybody ever listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Blame yourselves for this fucking word salad that I just spit all over the goddamn plate. This is all your fault. You and I like me. That's it. I work under the cover of darkness because I don't need the rest of society to look in my eyes and know that is a bad person. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. How are you, folks? I'm good. Thank you for asking. I know you did. You spoke out loud as you drive around in your car with your iPod plugged into your iPod vagina. That's right. And by the way, there are listeners who have said iPod vagina in front of their children and then written me cursing the day I was born because they can't believe they said iPod vagina, and then their kids wind up going, ah, Mom, or Dad. And there was something else somebody said in front of their kid this week. I don't know what it was. Rape joke? No, it wasn't that, I don't think. Well, actually, that was me. I said that in front of some children at a schoolyard. That worked out really good. Don't ask why I was at the schoolyard. Folks, we're under an umbrella of silence this week. We're operating under a cone of we're trying to change things a little bit, but not really try to change things a little bit. We're having an experiment right now. That's what we're doing, and it's a weird experiment. I'm not going to lie to you, folks, because all I do is try to fill the silence, and that's all I'm going to be doing for this entire goddamn show. Here's why. Our friend Lily Bunchtup produces the show, as you know, and she enjoys me. She likes me mentally, not physically. She finds me repulsive and hideous as a human being, but in physical form, certainly in physical form. But she feels that what I bring into the world, what I emit via my mouth through my erudite and clever brain, she says, oh, my God, that's fantastic. That's something that everybody should experience. But me as a person, nah, she's not a fan. So this week, I told her, I go, do me a favor then. Pretend that I'm not funny. Like, don't laugh. Don't laugh at anything that I say. And she's like, what? And I go, well, no, laugh. I go, if you like it, laugh. But make me make you laugh. And she goes, but you don't understand. She goes, every week that's what you do. I laugh at you because I think you're funny. I go, look, I do understand. But you know who doesn't fucking understand? Goddamn America. That's who fucking doesn't understand. All right? And I'm getting tired of fucking cards and letters from people who are like, you know what? Why don't you do this? Why don't you fuck off? All right? I'm tired of you and your bullshit notes. Here's what brought this on, folks. I got a note from a dude, and he's like, hey, they're reviewing podcasts at The Onion. And I'm like, what? The Onion? The bastion of humor in our American society? He's like, yes, they're reviewing podcasts. This was like a month ago or something. I don't remember what it was. And I was like, fuck, that's cool. And I'm wondering if they reviewed me. He's like, they haven't reviewed you yet, but I mentioned you. And I'm like, who are you? The guy who talks to The Onion? What the fuck? That's fine. Thank you for letting me know, sir. Goodbye. End of our conversation. So it wasn't even a conversation. It was an email exchange. What if we were talking? He called me. Folks, I give out my number to people who like me. So by all means, call me. There are people who listen to the show who actually have my phone number. It's weird. But it's not weird. I mean, I guess it's because you know why? Because every time I go to a new city, I need to people are like, oh, they're all happy and excited to have me come to their city until the morning of the show. And then I send them a text and I go, do me a favor. You got to print this list out and go get me some Propel. I mean, like all of a sudden, these people are my fucking, my pack mules. They got to go get a bunch of shit for me. It's retarded. All right. So, this guy, he's like, hey, man, they're reviewing podcasts at The Onion. So I went and checked it out. It was like a month ago, I guess. No, it might have been even a month and a half ago. 6 weeks, 4 weeks, I don't know. But it turns out they've been reviewing podcasts at The Onion for the entire year, like the whole time. And, folks, if you know anything about me, you know that I do not exactly have a great track record with people reviewing my podcast. The first and I think only people who've ever reviewed my podcast. Well, no, I apologize. There have been people who've been very nice and done blog entries, certainly reviewing my podcast. Gary, who listens to the show, is a very nice guy, and it was at Padawan, Podiwan Blogspot, I think. He went ahead and reviewed the show. I don't know the full address off the top of my head, but it was something like that. And he reviewed it, and then there was the guy who works for Jordan Jesse. I don't know if he works for them. At Sound of Young America, Inc., as they walk around and Jesse with his mellifluous tones. You know what? Nobody works for Jesse Thorne, all right? Because actually everybody works for Jesse Thorne. Jesse Thorne pays no one. Because when you come in and you go, hey, Jesse, can I get my check this week? Jesse Thorne speaks to you in that voice, and you become hypnotized and walk out, and you go to your home. And then you're like, fuck, I think Jesse paid me. I'm not sure. But it doesn't matter because he comes at you with that voice that comes from the center of the earth. Literally, when Jesse speaks, I expect mole men to crawl out of his mouth because, Jesus, God, is that a deep fucking center of the earth? It's like, you know what? His voice is a verbal s'more. It's like It's so comforting and it makes you so happy and you forget everything that's going on. It's like it's an oral birthday cake. That's what fucking Jesse Thorne's voice is. It just it brings you back to better times. So and it's I will say this: people are always like, "Oh man, does he really sound like that?" People have asked me that. They go, "Does Jesse really talk like that?" Yes, he talks like that all the time. I saw him when he did his Risk show. And I didn't get to see his Risk performance, but I saw him afterwards, and I'm talking to him, and that voice. I mean, because Jesse's like 6'8" too. That's another thing people don't understand. You hear the voice, and it sounds when you do it, it sounds put on. I mean, there's no doubt because he's like, "Hi, I'm Jesse Thorne," but he really fucking talks like that all the time. It's amazing. It's just verbal soup. It's so comforting. So, how the fuck did I get into that? How did I spin into that? Oh yeah, that's the thing is he's got all these people on his payroll and they come in to get paid and then he launches. He compliments like it's you walk out of there you're hoping that bees don't attack you because you're coated in honey. I mean it's just when he speaks it just flows out of him. It's just so I would work for him just to hear him talk to me. If he gave me compliments in his voice, I would float out of there like I had winged feet like Mercury. Is that Mercury who has winged feet? I think he is. All right. That's right, folks. I bring fucking knowledge to you. The Greek gods or whatever the fuck. Is he Greek? I don't know if Mercury's Greek. Who knows? He's part of Shazam, right? When you watch Shazam, it was like Solomon, Hercules, Achilles, Zeus, Apollo, Mercury. Yeah, fuck that. That's right. I know what Shazam stands for. You didn't think I did you, folks? You're like, fuck that. This guy doesn't know what Shazam stands for. Bullshit! I come right at you with Shazam and I break it down Shazam. Write it down now, folks, so you never fucking forget it. Solomon, Hercules, Apollo, Zeus, Achilles, Mercury. Billy Batson in a camper driving the fuck around, lightning happens, boom. Guy in a fucking red costume with all the powers of all the letters. fucking Zam. You people doubting that I know what Shazam means. All right. So, and I don't even know how I spun into Jesse. I talk about Jesse. Review. Oh, because Jesse, the guy who works for Jesse, Colin, I think his name is. He reviewed us, but he reviewed me like the first year. So like I can't even imagine if he listened to it now. He'd be like, "What the fuck?" I tried to listen to Mike Schmidt, but unfortunately, he talked about Shazam for 14 minutes, and I had to turn the show off. I wonder why nobody likes the show. Why do I get bad reviews? I talked about Shazam for 15 minutes for no reason, because I thought you people didn't think I knew what Shazam meant. I defended myself against you and your anti-Shazam crusade. Or no, actually, you know what? You're not anti-Shazam. You're anti-Shazam knowledge. That's what you are. You don't think anybody should know about Shazam except you. Fuck off, man. I know about Shazam. You fucking, you're home right now. You're like, nobody understands Shazam like I understand Shazam. Bullshit. Put in your tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds and hear me tell you the tale of a man who knows about Shazam. I couldn't tell you one other thing about Shazam. I know what his name means. That's it. I know he flies around. He's got like a red suit with a white cape. I think he's the only hero with a white cape. Fucking Shazam's cleaning bills are brutal. They have to be, right? I mean, he's got it. It's not like, because that's a magic costume. Superman's costume is like part of his skin, I think, or it's like from Krypton. But he's got like a special laundry at the fucking Fortress of Solitude. Does Shazam even have a Fortress of Solitude? He's got that camper. That's all he's got. Shazam rides around in a camper with an old dude. And I just picture him, he's got that fucking like tank of water and he's scrubbing bloodstains out of his fucking white cape as the old man tries to maneuver through the goddamn desert. Fucking Shazam. How low rent do you gotta be, you cocksucker? And yet I mock Shazam, and one of the greatest pictures ever is there's a guy named Alex Ross, I think is his name. He's a fucking comic artist and he's amazing. And Mex actually... this is a funny story. This is for comic nerds out there. My buddy Mex knows the guy who is Alex Ross's Superman. Alex Ross draws this iconic Superman. It's different looking than anybody else's Superman. And Mex actually worked at an advertising agency with the guy who is Alex Ross's Superman, like who was the model that Alex Ross had in mind when he drew the Superman. And you know what that guy gets? Nothing. He gets to tell people it was Alex Ross's Superman, and then Jesse Thorne thanks him for 15 minutes, and he walks out with no money. But Alex Ross drew a great picture of, it was Superman, I think, fighting Shazam, and they were in midair, and it's the only time Shazam's ever been cool, ever. Because on Saturday mornings when I was a kid, Shazam was like fighting, pirates. I mean, what the fucking Shazam? There's no supervillain that fights Shazam. Shazam's a low-rent Superman with fucking bloodstains in his cape. Dirty Cape. Fuck you, Dirty Cape. That's what his name should be. Dirty Cape. And Shazam should stand for different soaps that he has to use to watch his cape. And I can't pull them. There's no Z. I was gonna say that Solo isn't Solo a soap? Solo's a soap, and then there's I don't know, Dove, Zadove. Right. Zadove starts with Z. All right, so I've been reviewed in the past, folks, and then these other people creeped to the forefront, and they reviewed us, and they weren't kind. I did a whole show on it in year 2. And then the best part is they hated my show, and then they abandoned podcasting altogether. Like they disappeared. They fell off the face of the earth. Because people like me reviewed them on iTunes and killed them, and then I don't even know if they exist anymore. I have no idea. It was like a housewife and some postman. Who the fuck knows? But not the postman. See, postmen in Canada like me. Postmen in America, not a fan. I actually did a raspberry noise into the microphone to indicate displeasure. Folks, I'm not verbal. I wish I was verbal Kent. Oh, that would be great. All right, so anyway. This guy contacts me 6 weeks ago, and he's like, hey, the Onion is reviewing podcasts. And I said, great. So I went and I read them, and I read it for 3 weeks, and I was never mentioned, which is fine. They review the bigger shows. They review your Mark Maron, your Adam Carolla, and then it came up where I was going to be on Carolla. Boy, this is beginning of May, so this is a couple of months ago that I heard about this. I apologize. It's longer than 6 weeks. That's going to fall. This guy, you got to grab that. That's going to fall. That's going to be bad. Folks, we would do a video feed, but you would have seen that. That would have been awful. Something almost fell. Why is that awful? It happens everywhere. It happens in your home right now. Look out! All right. So, it was a couple of months ago because I did Corolla in May. So it must have been in April when this guy contacted me. You know what, folks? I've known about this my entire life. I actually write the column. I write the review column that reviews podcasts over at The Onion. I'm in charge of the entire thing. This whole thing's a ruse. No, it's a couple of months ago, whatever the fuck. So somebody told me about it. I looked at it for a couple of weeks, and I wasn't mentioned, but then I knew they reviewed Corolla and other people. So I'm like, oh, fuck, when I do Corolla, they'll mention me and mention my podcast. That'll be great. So the next week I did Corolla, and then the next week the review was they have the best and then the rest, I think, or something like that. And they mentioned Adam Carolla. And they reviewed his entire. Normally they'll review his episodes, one at a time or whatever. But no, they decided to lump that week together. And in that week it said Monday on Adam Carolla, comedian Mike Schmidt came on and talked about how terrible and sad it is to be overweight. That was their fucking. That's what they took from the discussion I had with Adam Carolla. I pictured I pictured them not even listening to it. It started for 5 minutes and then they just went fuck it and turned it off. No, he was funny. No, he was charming. No, he has his own fucking show. I think they might have said the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast, whatever. I think it just said comedian Mike Schmidt. Who the fuck knows? All I know is I read it. I'm just like, oh, really? That's all you took from it, motherfucker? So a couple weeks went by, and then I decided, you know what? I'm going to do, because I will tell you this, they have comments underneath the podcast reviews. So in my head, I went, you know what? Because I looked at the comments, and people would put their own show in there, kind of publicizing their show. And then they would be attacked by faceless, nameless people who are in the comment section going, hey, take your fucking spam elsewhere. But then they would be defended by people. All right, I shouldn't even go into details. I should just tell you, it was the internet, okay? They would go into the comment section, they would post about their show, and then the internet would happen. So they would get yelled at by some people would defend them, and then it would spiral off into another fight, and inevitably at the end of it, everybody's arguing about Shazam. So in my head, I'm watching it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to venture in here, and I'm going to mention my show. Because they review Jimmy's show. They review, a bunch of shows that I know of and I'm friends with, people that I know. So I'm going to put myself in the comment section and see if I can get a little traction here. I mean, I wasn't even looking to get reviewed by the Onion people. Because, let's be honest, folks, this show is review-proof. All right? You either really, really like the show or you fucking hate it. So that's not a good thing to invite a reviewer into. All right, because you're asking him, is he going to love it the first time he fucking hears it? Because the show can be long and the show can be a bit much, and so when I try to get people on board, it's great, and some people usually do it, and they'll come aboard, like people who heard me on Carolla or heard me on Gio's podcast or heard me on Marin. They'll come aboard and then they'll write me and they'll go, holy shit, where have you been? I've never heard of you. You're fucking hysterical. But then there are other people who will go ahead and give it a listen and then decide to write me a letter telling me everything they hated about it, and then they'll disappear, which is fine. But that's my show. That's what it is. So I wasn't interested in being reviewed by them because, again, I knew they weren't going to give it. Again, my show's more of a book than a movie. I've said this many times. You can't have a one-time viewing of my show and kind of get it because, and this came up this past weekend, which I'll get to. I was in Seattle. I use shorthand. I speak in shorthand. All right? Because I assume all of you, and I've talked about this many times, I assume everybody who's listening knows who I am and has been around since the beginning. So I'll say Karen, I'll say this, I'll say a shorthand, and I picture everybody kind of knows what I'm talking about. And in Seattle this weekend, there were people who were new to the show and also people who are, longtime listeners, but they would say to me, I don't know what that meant, or they would ask for a clarification after the show, certainly, by the way. I should say that. It wasn't a symposium. Nobody was raising their hands in the middle of the presentation. Excuse me, I'm going to need to know exactly what that means and who that is. You need to give me a glossary before this show, a program listing everybody you've just mentioned. So I copped to it when I was talking to Steven, a guy up there who came to the show. I said to him, I go, yeah, I talk in shorthand. It's kind of it's a curse, but it also, I think, lets people who know what the show is. I think it's kind of not a shout out, maybe a reach out to them where it's like, hey, they've been around a long time. You get it. We don't suffer fools. Why the fuck should we slow down? I'm not going to throttle down for people who are new. You either keep up or you don't. Which is a great way to grow your fucking show, folks, by the way. Oh, I'll tell you what, when you're in the middle of a rant complaining about people who don't like your show and the fact that they fucking rip the shit out of it, by all means, the first thing you should say is, hey, I don't give a fuck if new people come in and tune in. Which is bullshit. I want to grow this show. I want to be the biggest fucking podcast in the fucking world, but I know that's not going to happen. I swear too much and I talk about fucking retards. That's not going to happen. People get angry at shit like that. And people are like, oh, you're hysterical, but then there's other things that I don't enjoy, and then they proceed to tell me about them. Thank you. Anyway. So I decided I was going to post in the Onion's comment section. This is a month ago, maybe. I don't know. Again, I have no concept of time. My cock ring watch is in the shop. So it's a while ago. I go into the comment section, and I actually posted. I forget again. I'm just going to paraphrase because I don't remember what it was, but it was something along the lines of, "Hey, I don't know how you guys feel about people promoting their own shows in here. Yes, I do." But I said, I host the 40-Year-Old Boy. I'm very proud of it. It's a podcast and all that and whatever. I did that, and then people replied to my comment. And one guy told me to, take my fucking story walking or whatever because he thought it was horrible spam. But then pretty much it was weird. It was only like 5 other people, and they were all universally Schmitty. Like they were fans of the show, which was pretty cool. I thought that was great. So I'm like, oh, maybe I've gotten a little traction here. Maybe a few people will give it a chance because of these nice comments and because I came in, I was like me. I was particularly self-effacing, and that's, I'm very self-deprecating, and I think that kind of, lets people see who I am. And then they get roped into here, and you hear me going, I'm fucking great, the fucking best in the world. Because I don't know if you know this, folks. When I do this show, I'm making muscles the entire time. That's how strongly I feel about my goddamn show, folks. I am in flex position the entire time I am talking. Oh, yeah. Oftentimes you'll hear me kiss a bicep. You won't know what I'm doing exactly. You'll go, what, did he just steal a kiss from someone? That vagabond Romeo? Yes, I'm kissing my own fucking bicep because I love me because I'm the fucking man. All right. So, sure enough, I posted that. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Some people noticed. And now I will tell you, I've started to read every week. I'll read the Onion reviews. See if they want to review it, that's great. See if anybody mentioned me in the comments. Look, it's because I'm supposed to be doing this. All right, that's what I'm being told by everybody. I'm supposed to be promoting the show. I'm supposed to be doing everything I can to try to get listeners and trying to get people on board and letting them know about it, which is fine. I understand that. I know I'm supposed to be doing that, but god damn, does that suck. It just, I don't like talking about me on here, and I'm the only guy fucking talking. But to have to try to go out and fucking throw a hook into the uncharted waters of the internet and try to snag a stranger to go ahead and listen to me spill out my guts about fucking Shazam, that's a little rough, man. I mean, it's just, I just feel, because you know why? I want people to know who the fuck I am already. I don't want to fucking have to try to convince people that I'm great. Just listen to the show. You'll hear that I'm fucking great. Just come on board. But again, how are they going to fucking, again, nobody comes to your house and offers you a job, all right? Nobody knocks on your door and says, excuse me, sir, are you humorous? Let's bring you into a comedy world. Nobody fucking does that. So I don't know where Comedy World is, by the way. That's either the best or worst amusement park you'll ever be in your life. Just the hall of ha-has. Like it's going to be all terrible. Some animatronic Dane Cook ripping its shirt off. No thanks. So, sure enough, I go in there and I'm reading and everything. So there was a show I did a couple of weeks back, folks. Some of you may remember it. If you're new, you might not. But did a show about my Father's Day episode that I did, where I talked about a story from when I was a kid, and I talked about something that had happened to me that week with a young lady. So, and I told that story, and sometimes when I tell a story that has emotion to it, or some sort of something that's not just generally me running downhill yelling about Shazam, okay? Sometimes there can be some backlash. In the old days, like when I did the sad cast about losing weight, and I talked about when I broke up with Karen, and the sad casts, you know what I mean? That's what they're called. I would get letters from people telling me, you know what, you should just stick to being funny. Like people would, because they didn't want the downer in their week or whatever the fuck. I don't know what the fuck. It made me laugh because it was like was I their only outlet for humor that week? And they were like all week, they're like, they run their fucking Calgon bath and they get their bubbles and their candles lit and they sprinkle all their rose petals into it and they climb in with their iPod on. And then you hear me being sad and they're like, oh, dude, I wanted to laugh. You fucking ruined my laugh bath. Look, let me tell you, until you have experienced the laugh bath, folks. So anyway, when I do a show like that, sometimes I will get feedback from people who are angry that I decided to talk about real things. And I do the same thing that I always do. I'll write them and I'll say, yes, well, I understand, but that's, the show is what it is and it happens, whatever happens that week is what I talk about. And, I have the thing that I thoughtfully try to explain with them. We exchange emails and we talk, and then inevitably they tell me I'm unsubscribe, and then they just stop writing. Well, this time I did this show, and it's fun. What was funny is I guess you guys are all tuned in to the fact that I get those notes. I must have mentioned them in the past because people wrote me and were very cool and very nice, and I got a ton of email from people relating to that show and complimenting me on the show, and they enjoyed it, and telling me, but it was funny, they all prefaced it with, man, I hope you haven't gotten a lot of hard time from people this week because that was really good. I'd hate to think that anybody didn't like that. So they prefaced all of their cool compliments and nice remarks with, I really hope nobody shit on you this week over this. And I will tell you, nobody did. Feedback on that show was universally good. So I did that show, and I was hey, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of all my shows. But I went to the Onion that week, and a guy wrote in the comment section, because I had never been mentioned in the comment section until I mentioned me. Okay. But finally, some guy, I'm like, I guess I got a little traction. And this guy wrote, another great 40-year-old boy this week. His Father's Day episode was unbelievable. And he wrote some very nice things. And there's like 5 responses. And the first one is, yeah, I tried to listen to that show, but I can't get over the fact that his fucking wife won't stop laughing the entire time. That'll show you what I'm dealing with, folks. That'll show you just how much time he put into listening. That'll show you just how much effort he put into finding out who I am and what I'm about. Yeah, I tried to listen to that show, but I couldn't deal with his fucking wife laughing the entire time. And I'll be honest, I'm with him if this was my wife laughing the entire time. How fucking horrible would this show be? There is no doubt it would be the most uncomfortable show, because all you would picture is me with like some, a geisha in a kimono with white face, just with her hands in her sleeves nodding and tittering because that was her job, was to laugh at her man. Holy shit, would that be awful. But I mean, Lily and I aren't fucking. We have no bond in that way whatsoever. She just thinks I'm goddamn funny, all right? That's it. And so when she laughs, I know it's genuine. She's not efforting. She's not trying to help. She really thinks I'm funny. Even though I've told her, I'm like, look, dude, you got to throttle it down. Do me a favor. Pretend like I can't make you laugh or whatever. And she's always like, well, you make me laugh. And I go, I know I do. And I'm glad for that. And it makes the show easier for me to do, because this is the show I want to do, folks. I want to make Lily laugh. That's the whole fucking point. What if I did a show and she never laughed? Holy shit, I'd fucking hang myself. The whole point is I'm trying to make people laugh, right? I'm trying to make you laugh. If I could come individually to your homes or ride in your cars and talk to you and make you laugh. Although I don't know if that would work, quite frankly, because you'd be like, ha, the TV came to life, and it's not as funny in person. Just ask Clay, who I went to San Diego with at the ball game, and I'm making fucking jokes about the goddamn vendors, and he's just looking at his friend like, he's like this in real life. Yes, I am. I'm an idiot. It's true. So that guy wrote that he couldn't get past my wife laughing at everything, and underneath, and then the next 4 comments were all again the same deal, where they were just like, and then one guy goes, yeah, I wrote him, and he told me that girl is crucial to his success, and I said, you know what, then I'm out of here. And it's like, I don't think that's what I wrote you. I don't think I wrote you, hey, that girl is crucial to my success, Mike Schmidt. I think I explained to you why I want her to be there, and I think I probably took, but it doesn't matter. Again, it's the internet. Why the fuck do I fucking care? But that's fine. Again, and I don't mind. If people feel that way, it's great, but I'm also trying to grow the show at the same time, so I'm constantly at loggerheads of what the fuck I'm going to do. And you folks don't care. This is a first world problem. I get that, all right? This isn't, I got malnourished babies or I got fucking, guys driving around in vans trying to rape me. I get all that. This is just, I'm trying to get people to listen to a fucking podcast so I don't have to fucking work for real, okay? So I don't have to go fucking join the working week, as Elvis Costello would say. Although he would say welcome to the working week because he knows I'm coming. He knows inevitably he's not, you don't want to, if Elvis had a song, you don't want to join the working week, then fine, absolutely. But he knows full well that I am joining the working week. Absolutely. And I'm sure there's a handful out there right now who you have your own Elvis song. As you think about me, you're like, what's so funny about Mike Schmidt and Lily laughing? That's what you're saying. You're, oh, what's so funny about Mike Schmidt and Lily laughing? Oh, as I walk through this internet world. All right, never mind. That's just me being stupid. But the bottom line, folks, is I love this show. I love you. That's right. That's the bottom line always, no matter what happens. If you sit there and you think to yourself, I hope he doesn't take this out on us. No, you guys, I welcome you. Open arms. I love you all. Let's all get in my camper with an old man and drive and fight crime. What do you say? Wait for a lightning bolt and I'll lead us all into the desert to go ahead and fight a pirate. Why not? Sha-fucking-zam! You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy, and coming up next, some bullshit show about the moon. Ladies and gentlemen, with a phrase from the past of The 40-Year-Old Boy, please welcome Elvis Costello.
Sorry, senor. Sorry, senor. Sorry, senor. Sorry, senor.
Hey, this is weird. Lily's got a wife.
I hate you.
She's like, oh yeah, I've got a wife, and I go, you have a wife? What does that mean? She goes, I'll never tell. I can't go into it. And when Lily says she can't tell me something and can't go into it, I've learned not to ask. Because it truly means she's not going to tell me, but she wants me to know about it. Like, that's the thing. She'll dangle it out there, and then you'll say, what? And she'll go, no, what? I didn't mean to say that. Oh, ha, 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 ha. So she's got a wife, folks. Keep that in mind. I don't know to what end. I don't know to what purpose, but, maybe I'll come here one week, and Lily will be out, and then I'll be some other woman, and she's like, yeah, Lily's getting groceries. Sit down. I'll record the show. And that'll work out perfectly, because there's no way that person's going to think I'm funny at all. She'll be jealous of me because I'm like, you spend every Wednesday with my wife, and she'll be furious, and then she won't laugh, and then the show will go according to plan, and then boom, everybody's on board. All right. Here's something I will tell you, folks. Look, first of all, I should mention this. I was in Seattle last week to perform, and I will get to that. I will talk about that in a moment. But I first want to tell you about something that happened after I got home from Seattle. I got home, and Karen picked me up at the airport. Everything was fine, and I get in the car, and we're driving. Everything's okay. I get home, and then I go to check my mail, because on my phone, I only have I have like 3 or 4 different email accounts, but I only have one to my phone, which is mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. And so I'll check those emails, because those are very important. But then I'll get all my personal bills and all that kind of stuff at a different address, because I don't like to give out mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com, because you get spammed to death, and you wind up getting all sorts of bullshit. So I have a couple of other addresses. So I open one of them, and there's a note from Karen, and it says, "Don't worry, I already called Bank of America." And
Oh my God.
That's a bad email heading, right? That's got to be bad. I don't even want to fucking open it at that point. I'm like, oh, because here's the thing. Whatever it was, what we've been in the car for 45 minutes. I mean, don't you tell me that in right when we get to town. I mean, if there's some sort of weird mystery or elaborate terrible thing, wouldn't you broach this subject with me on the way to the house? I mean, I guess. And I should tell you, I didn't have any sleep, so she was probably like, "Oh, he's tired." Yeah, I'm fucking tired, but I'm fucking awake now, motherfucker. Don't worry, I've already called Bank of America, and I open it up, and it's a chat log that my wife had with online security or whatever the fuck. Here's something fun, folks. Here's what's great. Especially when every dime you own is accounted for, when every single dime in your bank account and your wife's bank account and your joint bank account, when all of it is earmarked for bills, when you're in that position now where you're actually walking a financial tightrope where you can't even really, there's not even a couple bucks that you can play with. I mean, you're like, everything is accounted for. You know what you want to find out? You want to find out that somebody in Malaysia got your wife's debit card number. That's exactly what you want to find out. Because look, if you take my credit card number, who the fuck cares? All right, I got 12 credit cards, and between the 12 of them, you might be able to get lunch. I don't know. So good luck stealing the numbers to the credit cards and enjoying a sub sandwich. All right, because that's all you're gonna fucking get. I don't care. I'll hand out if you contact me. I'll give you my credit card numbers and laugh because I want to see you try to make something fucking happen with those. As I furiously pay to stay ahead of the guy who they keep whittling the fucking. That's driving me fucking crazy. I'll pay, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you're only $1 away from your limit. Well, how the fuck did that happen? Oh, because you keep cutting my limit every time I fucking pay you, cocksuckers. Look, I have to cough, and I've had to cough since I started talking, and it's like so hold on one second. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, folks? Yeah, all right, so there. What? I had to cough. I had dust in my throat. I've done that since I was a kid. I never did the goose call on this show. I did it, right? Yeah, that thing. Oh, yeah, that's my throat. All right. When I was a kid, but like that would be the thing is guys would yell goose call at a basketball game, and I would do that fucking noise. And that, by the way, that's fantastic for your throat. Whether you're a young man working his way toward flunking high school, or you're an old man working his way toward getting nobody to listen to him on a podcast, by all means, do that to make your throat bleed. It doesn't make my throat bleed, but it doesn't feel good. Well, it doesn't hurt. It never really hurt. It's just a noise, but it doesn't sound pleasant. Holy shit, it doesn't sound pleasant. Speaking of not pleasant, so every dime I have is accounted for in my bank account, and this person went ahead and took $420 in Malaysia and put it in onto a. There's a website, like we traced it to a website. What it is all right, look, you know how you can buy Visa cards at the store and you can get a certain amount put on them? There's websites where you can load up Visa cards and then do online shopping. Well, this person went and took $420 out of our bank account and put it on a card at this place. Thankfully, thank God, Karen, they called us. Like B of A called right away to ask about this huge transaction, and Karen called, all right, Karen didn't call them. She went ahead and did a little chat back and forth with them online, and I'm like, why didn't you call them? Why wouldn't you? And she's like, well, it's too late. I mean, they're not open. And I guess I get that, but I'd fucking sit there and ring the phone until somebody picked up. I don't give a fuck. Wake up, bank asshole. I'm getting ripped off. And by the way, I have no idea if they're sleeping on the job. I don't know if that's what it is. Like late at night, is that what they do? They nap at the call center. It's India. Who the fuck knows? They might. They're in drawers, like coffin drawers. They just open it up and then they start calling and then they close the drawer when it's time to go to sleep. Oh man, that's awful. So I wanted to call. So I came home. Oh, it was terrible. So Saturday, I hadn't had any sleep and I got to call B of A then and dance that dance. But again, I will say this. I have to sing their praises. As much as Bank of America is destroying America, which seems antithetical because that's their name. Why would they want to do that? They're going to have to change their name to, Bank of Foreclosures and Scorched Earth because there won't be an America left because thanks to them and their ilk. But they went to bat for me and fucking made it happen because I called up and I'm very bad at this, folks. I'm not good at being calm in this situation because that $420, that's, again, that's 4 credit card payments gone and into the pocket of somebody in Malaysia who's pretending to be Kellen. That seems that's probably not what they do. I don't know. I've never been to Malaysia. Maybe they talk like that. I have no idea. Fuck, I just said the people in India live in a giant filing cabinet in coffin drawers and get rolled out to do their job and then rolled back in to go to sleep. How the fuck? I don't know how the world works. So yeah, that's my extent of my knowledge in Malaysia. They don't pronounce their R's, and the people in India live in a big filing cabinet. All right, good. I'm a world traveler. So in Malaysia, yeah, these people are. So I call up B of A, and I'm not good at all with like calmness or being. I'm saying to them, this guy's like, hey, what's going on after you push 900 email buttons to get through their fucking voicemail, and he says, hey, what seems to be the problem? And I said, there's a charge in my bank account that I'm never paying ever. I go, it's not me. Somebody did it overseas. They did it. And he's like, oh, hold on. Let me take a look at your account, sir. And he pulls it up and he gives me the amount, the $422 or whatever. And I said, yeah, that's not me. That's not my wife. And he goes, well, it says here that it was done online from an ISP address in Malaysia. I go, great. I have never been to Malaysia. I don't know if you've listened to my show. I don't know how they talk. I've never been there. He goes, well, it is on your wife's debit card, which I will be honest with you. I was furious that he would say that. Like, I wanted to say to him, dude, look, I've been in Seattle for a day. I don't think my wife kited off to Malaysia just to fuel a Visa card online and then came back. I don't think that happened. But they again, they're used to fraud. They have to deal with it. They have to get to the bottom of it. So I'm trying to be cooperative, but at the same time, I said to him, look, I cannot stress enough. I don't want to get caught in that loop where you guys have to do an investigation and you're going to hold my $420 for 4 weeks. Cause I can't do that. I can't, because inevitably, the 12 card pileup will happen. And it will just be smashed plastic and flames all over my fucking desk, with my phone ringing off the hook from assholes who are trying to get me to send them $75 so they won't make a fucking move on me. So I'm like, look, dude, you got to go ahead and take care of this. You got to do me a favor. You got to figure it out, because there's no way I am not paying this $420, and I'm not getting caught in like a 10-week loop where you do an investigation and I've got to go in and testify, and fucking Columbo's there, and we got to bring in like 100 Malaysians to talk about the internet. I want nothing to do with it. And he's like, all right, calm down. We'll take care of it. And fuck me if they didn't take care of it. Unbelievably, I looked at it all weekend and it kept saying processing, like the payment was processing. And then I went in there today and all the money's in my account. Like they did not allow the transaction. They just fucking whacked it. So I said to Karen, I go, all the money's back. And she's like, great. I go, I better spend it so they don't fucking get hold of it. So I had to send off like all my bills like immediately to try to deplete, because last thing I need is fucking Malaysia rearing their ugly head again. They already, because I had them to destroy my wife's debit card. I had them email a new one, or not email. That would be awful. What if they emailed a new debit card? That's what happened. See, that's what happened in the first place. That's why fucking Malaysia got their grubby mitts on it, because they're constantly sifting through my email, which is why, again, folks, I have several secret email addresses that you can't know about. That's how I do things. And the most important one is the one that I advertise to everybody, the one that I care about. It's so funny. I'm like, I don't want to get any spam at mikeandmikeschmidtcomedy.com, but that's the one I tell you all about, because online people always like spell out the ATDOTCOM so they don't get fucking harvested or spam botted or whatever the fuck happens. Because again, folks, listen, whenever you're on the internet, please know Malaysia is lurking right around the corner, looking to steal your information as a nation. That's right. It's not individuals in Malaysia. I am now, with a broad fucking brush, with a broad fucking brush, I paint the entire nation of Malaysia as identity thieves. And good luck stealing my identity, motherfucker. And good luck stealing Shazam's identity. All right, so. Because I don't think you're going to fit the suit, quite frankly. You ever see a Malaysian in a lightning bolt suit? If you do, keep walking. All they want is your wallet. Sneaky bastards, dressing up like Shazam to trick you. That's right. They'll come up, because it'll happen. Malaysians will dress up in a Shazam suit. They'll come up and be like, oh, we fight crime. And then you hand them your wallet, because that's the first thing you do when you're fighting crime. Because you are like, oh, yes, I want to help. And you give Batman your wallet. That's what you do. Any civilian who's approached by a superhero, give them your wallet immediately, just to show that you're on board and you're on their team. But if you ever see a Malaysian in a lightning bolt suit, hold on to your fucking wallet. We should check and see if I have listeners in Malaysia. Check that. We should check and see if I had listeners in Malaysia. What if I've been being staked out for 4 years by the Malaysians? and they went ahead and they've been listening to this show to try to get into my lair. They're like, oh, we're gonna get this guy, and they sat there and they scouted me all along and listened to this fucking show for clues. And then I might have uttered something at some point, and they went, aha, the wife is the weak link, and they stole her debit card, and then they fueled it up. All of that for $400 for 4 years, Malaysians, really? You've scouted me out and listened to the show for 4 years, pretending not to enjoy it, pretending that you're scouting me and you're listening. Are you like? I picture it's Malaysians. You know what it is? They're like trapped in. You ever read those stories about like when there's a guy from Japan who doesn't know the war's over and they find him in the woods? That hasn't happened in a while. Why do I say it like it happens all the time? Hey, you ever hear those stories about when they find a Japanese guy who doesn't know that the war's over? He lives in Hawaii? No, you've never heard those stories because they never happened. That's a fucking Gilligan's Island episode. What the fuck is wrong with you? Holy shit. You're trying to say that happened? Just this casual shorthand. You ever see those stories about when they find a Japanese guy who thinks World War II's still happening? He'd be dead. That's 70 years ago. There's no fucking way that guy's alive. What's he been surviving on? Coconuts and fish? Waiting? Praying? Oh, that's not happening. Even Vietnam wouldn't work. It's still too old. Jesus Christ. Why did I deliver that as with this weird shorthand? And were the Malaysians even in World War II? I don't even know if they were. Was it even a country at that point? God damn it. What's the gestation period for Malaysia as a nation? I want to know. I need to know. Because again, they have the most ancient culture, perhaps the most ancient civilization in the world. Because they've been listening to this show for 4 years. That's how they take their time, folks. They take their time. Malaysians have been listening to me for 4 years, waiting for an opening just so they could go ahead and get their hands on my $400. Fuck yeah. God damn it, Malaysia. It all paid off, didn't it? But I'm on to you, you sneaky cocksuckers. Oh, that's great. And there's hope for Malaysia. As an ancient culture, it takes all this time for them to evolve. It took them 4 years to steal $400 from me. But look what happened to India. India is this nation of, it's like dirt and running water in the streets, and then there's filth. But now they live in giant filing cabinets. Look at that. Look at the advancements that have come to India in this short amount of time, folks. As an ancient civilization, they still think an elephant is like the Lord over there, right? Don't they hail elephants as a genius? Elephants are God for them. And cows, elephants and cows. What the fuck? And again, it's certainly not any weirder than what anybody else worships. We worship a guy in a sky with a crazy cotton candy beard. They worship cows and elephants. Good for you. At least you can see a cow and an elephant. So look, they worship cows and elephants. They live in giant filing cabinets. That's what I know about India. Hard to believe I didn't graduate high school, huh, folks? Malaysia is the oldest nation on earth and sneaky and willing to go ahead and stake me out for 4 years to steal $400. And Indians all work in call centers and live in giant filing cabinets. But don't you think that whenever you call the call center and you hear that buzzing in the background, I just picture them all sitting in this giant hive. It's like a horrible hive of call center madness. It's literally the biggest building in the world full of the people who are the least helpful in the world. Customer service is a whiff. God damn it. Thanks. That's why I only hire the best for 40-Year-Old Boy Inc. for Throat Punch Media. When you call my voicemail, you're put right through. And the hold music is the theme music of Shazam from Saturday Morning Cartoon. Billy Batson and his mentor. His mentor! That guy's his mentor! Why do you need a mentor? You can turn into a superhero. All right. That is a show from like 80 years ago that nobody remembers, honestly, except Malaysians, because they were, at the time, they were... Oh, actually, it's actually in a prime time now in Malaysia. Again, I forgot. They work very slowly. So, I went to Seattle, folks. I did the show last week. I was there performing the one-man show. And I will tell you, it was an experiment kind of deal. I didn't mean for it to be an experiment. But I did the show on like an hour's worth of sleep. That's a lie. Maybe 2.5 hours of sleep. But 2.5 hours over a day and a half. All right. I woke up Thursday night at like 5 o'clock, Thursday afternoon. And then I was up all night. I wanted to try to sleep, but I was getting ready to go ahead and pack. And my schedule is all fucked up. I'm up late at night, and I'm not, during the day I'm sleeping. But I always figure, here's the mistake I've been making. I got to do this differently when I go out of town, because I'm booking these early morning flights, and then coming to town and doing the show that night. And here's the way I figure it. I go, well, I'll get to town in the morning, and then I'll check into the hotel, and I'll get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and then I'll go do tech and come back and get showered, and everything will be fine. Well, unfortunately, this theater couldn't do tech. Like, what I would really like to do is get to town, go do tech immediately, go back to my hotel, sleep, and then go right to the show. But they couldn't do tech at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They needed to do it at 6. So in my head, I'm like, well, the show's at 7:30. I got to do tech at 6. Fuck. You know what? I'll just go right to the hotel, sleep for 4 or 5 hours, get up, and go tech, and then hang out at the theater. Not knowing anything about the theater, not knowing anything about the people I'm going to be seeing or meeting. But it'll work out. What the fuck? They'll leave me alone. I'm going to go learn my jokes in the back and chant a mantra to try to calm the fuck down. So Thursday. So, but the thing is, I need to change that because I can't. I need to just fly in the afternoon and just maybe show up an hour before showtime or something. I guess I can't. I don't know. I have to figure it out. We're learning. We're all learning, folks. We're all learning on the job with how to do this. It's unfortunately we don't have a giant building full of people sleeping in filing cabinets where you can just open the drawer and I come out and do the show and then close it. If I could just book that room in India, that would be fantastic, but I can't. Start that page. Start Bring Mike Schmidt to India. Start to Bring Mike Schmidt to Malaysia. You know who's going to start that page? Fucking Malaysians. You sneaky bastards. Because, they're like, aha, computer-wise, we stole his wife's identity, but we got to get him here to steal his. And I get off and it's just a million Malaysians in lightning bolt suits to greet me at the airport and they steal my wallet. All right. So I did Seattle, and with no sleep. I got to figure out a way to do it. Because I've stayed up all night, and I'm like, well, I'll just sleep on the plane. It'll be fine. And I'm going to hop forward. I'm going to skip something else that happened, but I'm going to hop forward here. I went to go to sleep, and I got an hour. I laid down for an hour. I didn't really sleep. But I've convinced myself, beyond all rational thought, that if you lie down for an hour and completely relax, that's as good as sleep. It's not. I will tell you right now that it's not, but it's better than nothing. It's better than just trying to stay, up and at 'em and kind of alert. I'm like, well, just fucking go shut it down for an hour, which I did. But the thing is, that's always dangerous too, because you don't want to sleep and miss the alarm. That's with an hour. There's always that chance where you'll nod off, and then you wake up and it's fucking showtime, and you're not in Seattle. Holy shit! Because that's the thing. When I nod off, I don't nod off for like an hour and go ugh and yawn. No, I'm always in danger because my sleep schedule's so fucked up that I sleep in microbursts where I'll sleep like an hour or 2 hours, or I'll sleep for 9 hours like a fucking rock. Like I won't even move. I've done that where, especially now because it's been really hot here. It's been like over 100 degrees. So Karen will turn the air on in the bedroom, and then she'll close the door, and I'll sleep, and I will close my eyes, and I will wake up in the exact same position I was in when I went to sleep. Like I have not moved for 9 hours, and my arm's fucked. But it's like it's the greatest feeling because you're like ah. But then you don't want to get up. I talked last week about the heat, right? The air conditioning putting me to sleep. The noise. Did I say that? I didn't listen to last week's show. Well, but did I talk about when I was a kid that the noise I have to listen to it and it makes me go to sleep?
Yeah, but you talked about it in earlier shows, not last week.
Okay. Well, but I talked about there's air conditioning in my living room. You sure I didn't mention this last week? All right, here's the thing. There's air conditioning in my living room. If I talked about this, I apologize. And it'll be on in the living room, and I'll come out and I'll sit down. Even if I've just woken up, even if I've just gotten out of bed, I will sit down and I want to sleep in the chair that I'm in, this overstuffed chair. Did I mention this? Okay, here's why. When I was a kid, when I was like probably, let's see, 6, 7, I was 10 or 11 years old. I lived in Romeoville, Illinois, and in this really small house, and I lived in bunk beds with my brother. And I would go to bed, and I did not like going to bed because I didn't like noises. I didn't like hearing stuff, and I would always scare myself. I was always that guy who would always think about people outside the door, outside the window, or zombies. As a child, going to sleep was torturous because I was like, once I got to sleep, it was great. But going to bed, I was very imaginative, so I would always think of monsters and things like that. So when I was 10 years old and I went to bed in the wintertime, or in the summer, but mainly in the winter, I would lay there in complete silence but hear the stuff outside and hear the wind or whatever, and I'd be scared and I'd think of monsters and what was going on. But then the heat would come on. It would be this very distinctive noise. You'd hear it like it would make that noise where you hear the pilot come on, and you'd sit there and I would be so happy that the pilot would come on because I would wait and because then once the pilot was on, it was like and then the heat would kick in and it would start blowing through the vents, and I would race the heat to sleep. I would have to be asleep by the time the heat turned off, or I would be killed by whatever monster was in my house. That was how I did it. In my brain, I was like, you got to be, the second the heat, I would lay there until the heat came on, and I would hear it, the pilot, and I'd be like, oh, thank God. And then the heat would start blowing, and I would make myself say, all right, you need to be asleep before the heat turns off, or you're going to get eaten. And it would work. It would probably work 90% of the time. Except now, when I get up and I'm sitting in my living room, and it'll be completely silent in my living room except for the air conditioning blowing, and I don't care if I've slept 10 hours. I'm so fatigued, like I almost can't even move my arms. Like I get this weird thing where I want to sleep and listen to the air conditioning. Like I'm like, it just puts me to sleep. If I do it in the bedroom, it's white noise because I'll have the fan on all the time because it's sleeping during the day, and I don't want to hear a baby crying or a dog barking or a fucking Malaysian sneaking around outside my window. But when I'm in the living room, it's like I'm trying to stay awake. Even if I have the TV on, I will get heavy-lidded and I'll be like nodding off because as a child, I would force myself to go to sleep by the time the heat ended. So there you go. There's that. I don't even know how I fucking spun off into that. How did that happen? So that's my weird sleep schedule. That's what I'm saying. I can sleep anywhere. I can sleep at any time. I can sleep in a car. I can sleep, in a plane, and I'm ready to do it at all times. But I didn't get any sleep this time. I lay down for an hour. And I couldn't sleep because I didn't want to miss the alarm. And then I woke up and I told Karen to get up because she had to take me to the airport. I got showered. Everything was ready. And I figured I would sleep on the plane because that's what I do is I'll sleep a couple hours on the plane, and then I'll get in, get my car, go to the hotel, and then I'll sleep for 4 or 5 hours at the hotel and be ready to go. Well, there was a problem this time because I flew on Virgin America to Seattle. And folks, if you've never flown on Virgin America, turn this off and go fly on Virgin America. Right now. I don't care if you don't have anywhere to go. I don't care if you have a vacation. Go right now, look at your city, find out where they fly, and just take the Virgin America plane because it was fucking amazing. It's the nicest plane I've ever been on. It was phenomenal. It was new, and all right, I should tell you, when I got on the plane, first of all, I will tell you they tricked me. Okay, Virgin America tricked me. And I think we all know that I'm subject to trickery at all times. And I fall for it constantly. But I was checking in the night before with my, you got to check in 24 hours beforehand. And it said, hey, would you like to upgrade for $39? And I went, fucking first class for $39? How the fuck do I not do that? Yes. And I upgraded for $39, and then it said, great, pick your new seat. And it went to the next screen. And, folks, I did not get first class for $39. I got what Virgin America calls main cabin select. Or, I'm sorry, main cabin advantage. You know what that means, folks? The exit row. I paid $40 to move up from my seat to the exit row. Now, I think we all remember that when I went to Portland the last time, I got bamboozled into the fucking exit row by Alaska Airlines and sat there with a breeze blowing in my face from the fucking cold-ass thing, and I couldn't lean properly. It was awful. So I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't. And then I went, all right, look, this is an experiment. Okay, because I have to fly to Philadelphia and I have to fly to New York, and I might be flying Virgin for those. So why not just take the exit row and see what it is, see what it's all about, and see, it's $40. You can do that. That's fine. Maybe it's different than the other planes or something because the exit row does nothing for me. I told you that. Fat guy. I'm wide, not long. Long I can and take that any way you want to. But yeah, I'm sitting in the exit row, and I'm like, all right, that's fine, I can live with that. So that was me hopping ahead, but I'll get to the plane in a second. But I already tell you how great it was. I guess there's not much more to tell you. Well, I'll tell you in a second. It was just fucking amazing. I couldn't believe the plane when I got it because it's all white and plastic inside and kind of shiny and dark. It's you know what it was like? It was like being inside of a stormtrooper's ass. Like you know those. In Star Wars, those white and black outfits, that's what it looked like. Look, you were flying in a stormtrooper's ass because it's cylindrical shaped. I was right in a stormtrooper's colon. It was fucking amazing. Holy shit. The plane was so gorgeous, and the people were so nice. Like, the waiters and waitresses on the fucking plane were so cool. And they kept greeting people and putting they were like, where are you sitting? And they would take their bags from them and walk down and put it in the luggage thing. I mean, dude, they were above and beyond. It was crazy. All right, so I'll jump back. So, Karen had already flown Virgin and told me how nice it was. That was one of the reasons why I had to do it. So she wakes up. She takes me to the airport. And we were supposed to leave at 5:45, and we left around 10 after because it didn't matter. My flight was at 9:20. So it was like we were fine, but I didn't want her to get caught in traffic, so that's why we were going to go so early anyway. But she got up and didn't care. Like, she made coffee and puttered around, and holy fuck, stop being an old lady. Take me to the goddamn airport. Look, I love my wife, but Jesus Christ. Stop telling me you're going to do something at a certain time and then doing it later. It just, again, I love her. It drives me crazy when she'll say, yeah, I'm going to do that, and then she doesn't. Like, I don't. Again, look, she's not my butler. Okay, she's not Alfred. But don't tell me you're going to drop my dry cleaning off, and then I go to bed. I've talked about this, right? A million fucking times. And then I wake up 8 hours later, and there's my shirt on the chair. And what? Why didn't you bring it in? Why? Oh, I'll bring it in tomorrow. Yes, I know you'll bring it in tomorrow. Why didn't you bring it in today? I got to shut the fuck up. All right, so. You know what? If the Malaysians have stolen my wife's identity, maybe I roll with it. Because maybe they'll actually bring my dry cleaning in when I want them to. I'm an idiot. So I was excited to go to Virgin America. Karen wakes up, and we finally go. And I should say, I worried for nothing. Again, no traffic. Everything was a breeze to the airport. But Karen's like, we got there early, and she wanted to have some breakfast. Because she's like, you got time to kill, right? I go, yeah, that's fine. And a place I wanted to go was a place called Pan's, which is famous for their breakfasts. They have kind of a soul food vibe. But they didn't open until like 7 or 8, and it was like 10 to 7, but we would have had to find them, and I had to get to the airport in time. So I was like, you know what? There's a Denny's right by the airport. So, look, I got to be really killing time to eat at a Denny's, as you know. The last time I ate at a Denny's was my wife and I were there, and they actually had a meth lab on premises. It was horrible, just fucking, white trash, and it's white trash and Latinos. And it's essentially, it's West Side Story with pancakes. All right, so it's like I'm just tired of Denny's at this point, because it's either really horrible white trash people or it's Latino people, and I'm never going to find a Maria there, because if I do, Officer Krupke's going to come in and he's going to hit me with a breadstick. I just want nothing to do with it. But Karen loves Denny's, so I'm like, all right, there's a Denny's right by the airport. So we stop in, and sure enough, it's early enough to where there's people there, but it's not. The shift change is happening, and there's a group of Latinos on one side, and then the English people on another side. English people, yes, there's people from England. The redcoats are in there dining before they take on the Hessians. Jesus, that's awful. So it's me and Karen, and we get a booth, and I don't know what I want. I don't want to eat anything, because it's also Denny's food is horrible, right? And you don't want to eat. I don't want to eat too much at Denny's, because I'm trying not to eat like that. Again, it's after July 1st. I'm trying to change things, but also I'm kind of hungry. But at the same time, I don't want to deal with eating something horrible and then being on the plane, because I told you, when I get on the plane, I'm locked down, man. I'm not using the restroom in a plane. I'm not moving. And the last thing I need is to get a fucking a gut bomb from Denny's and then have to deposit it somewhere over the fucking Rockies. No thanks. By the way, I don't know why flying from Los Angeles to Seattle would take me over the Rockies. That seems like a circuitous route. That seems like a route. You know who takes that route? Sneaky Malaysians. You get on a plane, there's like a Malaysian captain with a fake mustache, and he's wearing a goddamn, one of those rice paddy helmets, and he's like, oh, no, we go over the Rockies. He's like, what? Sit down! Why are they Vietnamese? Why are they in the Deer Hunter? That's who Malaysians were, right? Tung Song Mao? We fought them in Vietnam. No, we didn't. That's Malaysia, stupid. I did not graduate. So over the Rockies, by all means, I do not want to go over the Rockies and use the restroom. Stupid. We're not going to be over the Rockies. So, anywhere. I don't care. Over Puget Sound. Whatever the fuck. Doesn't matter. I don't want to shit in the air. I don't care. I don't care if I'm at 37,000 feet or 5 feet. I don't want to shit in the air. You got that? Take that and run with it. So sure enough, but I go to Denny's anyway. I humor my wife. I'm like, all right, let's go to Denny's. We'll kill some time there. That's fine. And but I also want to eat something, but I can't. I'm trying. So I'm looking through the menu, and it's Denny's. They don't care. All right, they just don't fucking care. And it's coming into the morning hours, so they've been trashed all night long by heathens who drink and disgusting people. And you walk into Denny's, there's always that one homeless dude holding down one booth with his and nursing coffee forever. And if I was homeless, that's what I would do. Fuck that. I would bum enough money for coffee, and I would go into Denny's, and I would just sit there and drink coffee the entire day. Although that's kind of horrible to being homeless, because then you have to be awake to remember it because you're so jittery. You're like, oh, yeah, I would want to get fucking Valium or something and sleep, and because that's what I did when I was a kid, and I'd be in trouble. I'd want to sleep. Oh, turn the heat on. Uh, so this guy, I walk in and there's that one, of course, just like it's right out of Central fucking Casting. There's a guy, a homeless guy, just sitting there holding down one booth. But then there's your normal amount of travelers, and they escort us to the back. And again, it's the shift change. There, one person helps us, and then it says that Luna is going to help us, but then Shawanda might help us. Who the fuck knows? So you pick up the menu, and it's got that thin veneer of like grease all over it because it's it's that plastic, which is great, but they get that plastic so the menus don't rip, and B, so they can just wipe them off. But unfortunately, nobody ever fucking wipes off the menus. So you're trying to open it, it's slipping out of your fucking hand. It's like, you know what? It's like trying to grab a water wiggle. Remember those things? It's like a crazy water, like a hose that swirls around, or like that little inchworm that's full of water that you can go from hand to hand with, or whatever. Who cares? But it doesn't matter. It's like by the time I'm done looking at the Denny's menu, I could jerk off everybody in the place. It's like I have the slipperiest hands in the business. I'm Captain Handjob after I look at a Denny's menu. And by the way, Captain Handjob, I take it back, also has a white cape. Shazam, not the only one. Captain Handjob also has a white cape. My fault. So I'm looking through the horrible sticky menu, and it's got like syrup on it and grossness. And Karen's picking out her food, and they had a breakfast burrito, and the thing was it had avocado on it. So I'm like, well, I like avocado. I can eat avocado. That's healthy, and it's got healthy fats in it. So I'm like, all right, I can deal with that. Because I'm not getting a salad that early in the fucking morning. I don't know what their lettuce looks like. I'm gonna get breakfast, but I didn't want to get oatmeal there because that's gonna be sick. So I said, well, look, I'll get this burrito thing, and I'll give you can eat, some of it. What are you going to get? And Karen was deciding through the assorted slams. There's a lumberjack slam and a Malaysian slam, which, by the way, a Malaysian slam is just like a normal grand slam, except in the middle of eating it, a guy sneaks out and steals your toast. Oh, Jesus. Why not? Just keep shoveling dirt on it. Why not? So Karen decides upon a slam. I forget. Oh, she wanted. You know what? She's like, well, I want the lumberjack slam, but I want French toast instead of pancakes. And so then we finally got Shawanda over, and I said, hey, can she do this and substitute this? She goes, yes, it's only $3 extra. And I looked at Karen, and I made a face like, really? And she goes, nah, just get me the French toast breakfast. And I said, okay. So I got her some French toast. I got the weird burrito thing. And as we're sitting there, we're talking, and then she left a menu behind because right now Denny's has a special offer. Folks, I don't know if you've been to Denny's lately, and I can't imagine why you haven't rushed there immediately after I've made it sound so good in this fucking show. But it says right on there, right now for Denny's, they are offering food from around the world. They have their international menu now, taking on the House of Pancakes right where they live. And so I looked at there, and so Karen's like, oh, look at this. And it's got the food from around the world. And one of the entrees was Hawaiian pancakes, which is regular pancakes with pineapple and syrup and coconut. And basically, it sounds like an accident. All right, it sounds like somebody did that in the kitchen on accident, and then they said to them, hey, this would be pretty good on the menu, don't you think? And they said, yeah, we'll call it Hawaiian pancakes instead of Charlie's Mistake. Because I have to be honest with you, I don't care how nice the restaurant is. If I look at the menu and there's something called Charlie's Mistake, I'm not ordering it. You're not enticing me with Charlie's Mistake, friends. Or I go the other route. I order it every single time. Because I used to do stuff like that. I used to play games. Like, I love guessing games, folks. I enjoy games and puzzles. So if there was something called Charlie's Mistake, actually, I probably would. What if you went into a restaurant and it said Charlie's Mistake, and you said, what is it? And they go, you got to order it to find out. I think I would order it. That's who I am. I'm a curious dude. I would order that because that sounds fun because they're not going to poison you. Although it would be funny if it was like a sponge covered in, like Crisco. You'd be like, oh, that's Charlie's Mistake? Yeah. What'd you think it was? Well, I thought maybe Charlie made some nice fish. No, he made a mistake, idiot. That's what it says on the menu. But that's what you get. It's 6 of 1. You never know. I would do that. I think I told you this when I worked at a pizza place when I was a kid. Well, that's a lie. Whenever I worked anywhere when I was a kid, when I was at the cash register, people would order their lunch, and I would say to them, if you can tell me how much it is within 25 cents, I will give you your lunch free. And they would say, what? And I'd say, seriously, guess how much it is. And they would guess, and I would ring it up, and it would come up, and if they were right, it didn't happen often, but I would give them their lunch free, and I would pay for it. because it was a fun game, because it kept me in the game, because it made me think that I wasn't just a cashier in a pizza place, all right? It made me think that I was a host of something, or I was enjoying myself and I was being entertaining. Because it's like, you're bored out of your fucking skull. And dude, if you went to a pizza place and the guy said to you, hey, if you're within $1, I'm giving you this meal for free, you don't fucking jump out of your skin to play that fucking game? And I go back every goddamn day. And you know what I do? Subterfuge. I come when that guy's not working, and I order the same thing every night. And then when I see that he's working, I order it, and then he tells me, I nailed it to the fucking penny. And there you go. I take that meal for free every goddamn day. But I got wise to that because some guys would come in for lunch every day and have the same order, so I couldn't do it. I had to mix it up. I had to do it at night. All right. She's laughing because I just made a weird face like, why are you talking about this? Nobody cares. So we're there, and I did not order Charlie's mistake. We ordered, they had the Hawaiian pancakes, and Karen's looking at those, but we were like, I go, would you really order those? She goes, no, I wouldn't. But then they had something called Hawaiian pancake pups. And we looked at it, and what it was, they took the Hawaiian pancakes, or actually they took Hawaiian pancake batter, and for some reason they infused it with white chocolate chips and pineapple, and then they made breakfast hush puppies out of them. And you would get 6 to an order, and we're looking at it, and it was like, it's like round, it was like Dunkin' Munchkins. If you know where Dunkin' Donuts is, you go there and it's those little round donuts. It was Dunkin' Munchkins, but infused with white chocolate chips and pineapple, and it would come with hot syrup for dipping. And Karen looks at that, and I go, well, how many are there? And then she said there's 6. And I look and I go, well, it's only $1.99. And Karen goes, get them. And I said, well, you just got French toast. You don't want pancake pups or whatever the fuck. She's like, no, let's try them. They're $1.99. We'll try one, and I'll just take the rest. I'll put them in the fridge, and I'll eat them later. I went, all right. But the thing is, I'm trying to avoid eating this kind of shit. You know, I don't want, and the thing is, I understand I could just easily not eat it. But I'm fat, folks. If it's on the fucking table, I'm going to try it. I'm going to bite into it. What the hell? It sounds okay. Why not? I'll give it a day in court. So Shawanda comes over and brings our breakfasts. And then we already have our breakfast, so I didn't even see the point of even ordering it. But Karen's like, oh, get them. So I ordered them. I said to Shawanda, I go, I'll take the 6 pancake pups. And she's like, very good. And she takes off. She didn't say very good. She's not that kind of a waiter. Yes. She said, very good. Extra primo good, Mr. Coleman, sir. That's what she said. So she booked off to get our pancake pups, and then I looked at my breakfast burrito, which I have to tell you, folks, the picture on the menu, much more appetizing than the actual breakfast burrito that I got at Denny's. In fact, I think the thin patina of grease somehow made my breakfast burrito look much more enticing on the menu, because they brought it to me and it was just flat. And by the way, not fresh avocado, guacamole, like their version of guacamole, Denny's version of guacamole. And look, if you look around the place, with all the Latinos they have in the kitchen, you'd think they'd whip up a mean guacamole. No, sir. No, it was like green baby food. That's what it tasted like, with onions in it. It was not ripe avocado, so it was too tangy, and then it had onion in it, too much onion. And if I'm saying there's too much onion, there's too much fucking onion. All right. So, all of this for breakfast. Why am I telling you all this about breakfast? Bottom line is, I get this burrito, I look at this horrible guacamole, and I'm like, oh, god damn it. So I only eat a couple of bites of my burrito, and I give some to Karen, and she gives me a little over French toast. And then, voila, they unveil the pancake pups. And they come in a sundae cup, which is the weirdest thing in the world, like in an actual, like a fountain drink, like a soda, not a soda, but like if you were to get a float in one of those cups, that's what they're in, with wrapping paper around them. I mean, it's like a fancy presentation, because I guess that's how they would do it around the world. When you get your breakfast hush puppies in Hawaii, filled with white chocolate chips, why do you go with macadamia, right? When you go with macadamia nuts, that's Hawaiian. White chocolate's not Hawaiian. White chocolate's not even chocolate. White chocolate is it's literally 2 chemical inversions away from a candle. White chocolate is horrible. Not a fan. It's so waxy. Hence the candle reference a second ago. Why did you say waxy? You didn't need to. Stupid. So they bring the pancake pups, and I went to grab one, because I'm like, well, I'm already done with this burrito. It's cached. So I go to grab one, and it took 2 hands. That's how fucking thick this thing was. I lifted it up. It was so heavy and dense, and I bit into it. Almost chipped a tooth, but I bit it. And look, all right, folks, I'm fat. I'm not going to lie to you. It was fucking awesomely delicious. How could it not be? It's deep-fried pancake batter with bits of pineapple and chocolate in it. Check that. Not even chocolate. Like I said, bits of candle. Still delicious. Still fucking delicious, because it's a fried donut with pineapple and candle in it. Done. It doesn't matter. Still tastes great. But I could eat one. I powered one down. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. I could have eaten all of them just to get some sort of weird stomach barrier for the flight ahead. Because I mean that's not, believe me, they do not want to make a quick escape. Thick donut fucking wants nothing. It wants to nest in your stomach for the rest of eternity. But I ate one, and then Karen ate it, and she's like, oh my God, it's so good. And then she took them home. But then we go to leave, we split. I'm like, look, I'm going to go wait in the airport, and I go to pay, and I gave the guy my credit card, and he ran it, and he's waiting. And he goes, all right, you're going to need to sign when I get the receipt. And he goes, you know what, sir, it's not going through. Can I punch it in manually? And I go, yeah, that's fine. So I thought that meant he was going to punch it into the register, like the computer. No, he like opens the drawer, and moths and a bat fly out of this drawer because it's been they haven't been in it in forever, and he pulls out one of those old credit card machines, those where you slide it across, and he pulls that out, and he starts to get that weird receipt that that where they make an imprint, and he starts to set it up, and it dawns on me. This guy's name is Larry. That's a Malaysian name, right? So even before I came home to find out that what had happened at the bank had happened, I had an inkling that the Malaysians were on my trail. And I said to Larry, I go, oh, Larry, that's not happening. And he goes, what? And I go, no, you're not, because I was paying with a debit card. I go, you're not making an imprint of my card. And he's like, well, why? We have to do that in order to pay the bill. And I go, well, I'm sorry, you got to figure out some other way. Can you run it again? He goes, well, I already ran it twice. And I go, well, then you need to call the company or do something. I am not giving you a credit card imprint. And Larry's like, oh, hold on. So he went over, and I saw him talking to his sleeve, to his fellow Malaysians. And he realized I was onto him because I'm much smarter than the average dupe. And so he gets the manager, who, by the way, is white, which seems really weird because the entire staff is minority except for the fucking manager. But again, it's Denny's. I mean, that's the whole point, right? I mean, they used to have white tablecloths until everybody started wearing them. All right, so that's what we're dealing with Denny's. They think cuisine of the world is Hawaii, so that's. So this woman comes over, and she's like, oh, you know what? Larry's just going to take an imprint of your card. But she goes, I understand why you don't want to do that. And Larry, by the way, is right at her side. Okay. And she goes, Larry, you can't do that. Just go ahead and, you know what? I'll figure out a way to do it. And I go, well, I have another card if you want to use that. Cause again, I'll let them take an imprint of a credit card because there's nothing on there to fucking steal. I got enough to cover Denny's international breakfast and get the fuck out of there. But she goes, no, that's okay. She goes, as the manager, I can go ahead and punch it into the computer. I'll figure it out. But she goes, you know what? I don't blame you, especially in these times. You never know who's going to steal your stuff, right? And Larry's right next to her, and he actually makes this horrible face, like he just looks at her like really mean, like you can just see the disconnect between the manager and the employees. She basically told me all of her employees are thieves. She's like, yeah, you can't trust any of these fucking Malaysians in the kitchen, right? I'm like, yeah, exactly. And so, she and I bonded as white people, and we sneered at the fucking minority staff, and then she went ahead and punched in my number and gave me something to sign. And, Shawanda and Larry, meanwhile, plotted her death as I walked out to go to the fucking airport. But it was so rude. Like, she's just like, yeah, I wouldn't trust anybody in these times, especially in a place like this. I'm like, what? Especially in a place like this? And Larry's just sneering like at her side. Oh. But maybe she's onto something. Maybe she knows. Or maybe she's just white. We tend to do that sort of thing. So she takes Karen. We leave. Karen takes me to the airport, drops me off. I find my gate, sitting there waiting. Get on the plane, stunned by how beautiful it is. Oh my Lord! Like I said, just gorgeously white plastic, amazing. And I go walking down, and I find the exit row. And listen, look, folks, as a fat guy, this is crucially important for the exit row. I told you the reason I don't like sitting in the exit row is because there's plenty of leg room, but then they have that hard plastic chair that you have to jam your fat ass into. The Virgin America exit row has armrests that go up. Just a revelation. I actually heard angels sing. I was just like, just this weird. I can't even, and I won't imitate it. We've heard enough of my singing imitations for the entire show. But I couldn't believe it. So I get in my seat, and I'm on the right again. I'm on the right hand side against the window, which is exactly where I want to be. And I sit down, and the parade of people keeps getting on the plane, and they tell us the flight is full, but they're happening now. They're filling the plane up, and then there's nobody getting on, and we're about to leave in 10 minutes, about to leave in 5 minutes, still nobody else getting on. Finally, they let a pilot guy on who's like hitching a ride, and he sits in the exit row next to me, but not in the middle seat. He sits on the aisle. And then they start to close all the cabinets for the luggage. And what they do is then they go find people and they put them in the exit row. They'll go find people on the plane and say, I don't know if they're looking for burly, strong people who they think can handle the door, or if people, when they got on, said, hey, do me a favor. If the exit row opens up, can you let me sit there? Or if they're even charging those people the $40. I have no fucking idea, but I paid the 40 and did not care. I was happy to get my seat, happy to get the exact seat that I wanted. I sat down, and then when nobody was next to me, I'm like, oh, dude. I put up the armrest, threw on my headset, and I was going to go to sleep and crash. But there's something else Virgin America has that I haven't told you about. They have television on the plane, right in the back of the seat. So you can go on, and not only is it, they have regular television. First of all, they have television on demand, so you can watch any shows that you may have missed or whatever. But then they have regular satellite television. Like you can flip channels and watch ESPN and watch CNN and watch all these different channels. Although I will tell you this, first of all, no Food Network. How the fuck do you not have the Food Network in the sky? That is the ultimate in luxurious relaxation. You just kick back and watch somebody else make you a frittata. That's what you want to do, for Christ's sake. They have 5 news stations. Look, I don't need to see what the fuck is going on the ground. Holy shit. I'm in the air. Right now, I'm in Magic Land. I'm in fucking Fairyland. I'm waiting for a giant and a beanstalk and all that other bullshit. Whenever I'm on the plane, I'm not of this earth. Okay, I'm detached and I'm floating above it. All of your petty problems underneath me in Puget Sound, I could not care less what's happening in the Rockies. I want nothing to do with the stock market. None of it matters. I'm up here in international airspace. I may as well. I could kill a hooker and nobody could do anything about it. There's no laws in the air. What the fuck? I can do whatever the fuck I wanted up here. The Malaysians have no hold on me up here. I am free of their clutches and I can do whatever the fuck I want. The only rule I got to obey is that stupid seatbelt sign. And when it's off, and I can do whatever the fuck I want all over the plane. Don't show me the fucking news. I don't give a shit what's going on down on the ground. As far as I'm concerned, when I land, I want it to be nobody left. I want it to be apes. I want to take off from a land of humans and land on the planet of the apes. That's as far as I'm, because flight is magical. I am in the air. It's magic happening. So I want to be constantly surprised about what I might land in. But no, when you got to watch the news, it's like, oh, it brings you up to date. Fuck all that. I don't want to see that. And no Food Network. Disappointing. So I threw on ESPN, and I had that on, but I couldn't stop fooling with it. Then they had movies on demand. So but it was free movies. Like you could actually go ahead and put on the movie, and you could watch an actual goddamn movie, and it wasn't. You didn't have to squint at a postage stamp 9 rows ahead of you that was hanging over somebody's head, who then when they decided to put their baby in the air in front of the screen, you missed some crucial fucking plot point. No, I have a screen directly in front. I can watch what the fuck I want. I don't have to watch a movie with everybody. I can watch whatever I want, goddammit, except Food Network. So I'm fiddling with that. I'm fucking watching TV. I'm watching ESPN. I'm watching SportsCenter. I get caught up in it. And I'm listening to my headset, and I can't sleep. I could not sleep. I tried to sleep, but the plane was too nice. Like, it felt weird. Like I have to. I don't know if I have to be in a horrible circumstance to grab a nap. I don't fucking know. I get no idea. But I do know this, folks. I am so excited about this plane. I was so excited to tell you about Virgin America and their amazing airplane. How many times have I started this? By the way, I've told you about the Stormtrooper ass. Then I was like a Stormtrooper colon, and now I'm telling you about how beautiful it is, and in the exit row on the TV. Folks, I've forgotten to tell you the most important part of my journey from Los Angeles. I can't believe this slipped my mind. I can't believe I forgot this. I got to tell you this. All right, so Karen, we leave Denny's, okay, and Karen drops me off at the Virgin gate, and I get out, give her a kiss, I leave, and I walk right in, and it's morning. It's very early. It's like 7:15 a.m., but there is no real downtime in any airport. Maybe 5 a.m., but right around 7, it starts to really heat up, and people are coming in. So I get in, and I go up the stairs, and I get in the security line, and it's very long. It's a super long security line, but that's fine because I'm 2.5 hours early. So we're waiting, and it's moving very slowly, and there's 2 old people up at the front from TSA. By all means, TSA, keep hiring the elderly. God knows. When you're not patting down children and removing their old lady's diaper. When I heard that, they said they removed an old lady's diaper, I thought it was an actual TSA agent that had their diaper removed, because every time I go, it's these 85-year-old people who should be shaking my hand as I leave Walmart with a bag of fucking socks. But instead now they've moved into TSA because they are, they fit the uniform. They're like the Johnny Bravos of the air. So I show up, I walk in, long security line. So a woman comes in and she starts yelling, which is always peaceful at 7:00 in the morning in the airport. She starts going, people, we've got thinner lines over here. We're going to take a lot of you right now. And we're going through the zigzag, okay? We're all in the zigzag. We're caught. You know what I'm talking about, right, folks? That fucking like you're waiting to get on Space Mountain, but all you're waiting to do is take off your shoes for an old person. So we're at the airport and we're zigzagging through, going back and forth. And they go, all right, folks, what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the line now, and we're going to take you to a different security line. It's much smaller, and it's going to be much quicker for everybody. So let's go. So they make us walk through the zigzag. And when we get to the front of the zigzag, they take us out of the line, and they march us through the terminal where we're at. We're not in the terminal yet. We're still down at ticketing. So they march us through. Then we start walking. We go outside. Actually outside of the airport, to the outdoors. And there's two guys in front of me who are going to play golf in Mexico. And they start talking, and then we start going outside, and the one guy looks at the other guy and he goes, this isn't good, right? We're going outside? And I look at him and I go, no, this is most definitely not good. So we continue to walk outside. They bring us, and then there's a stairway down that I've never seen before. It's like a secret stairway. They put us in the stairway, go marching down there. And what we are now is we are in the basement of the airport. There's a wet bar. There's a pool table. It's a furnished basement, at least, thank God. But we're in the basement of the airport. We get in, and it turns out there's a security line, and they have the zigzag, and they've marched people from one side of the airport, all Virgin, I guess, or whatever, for this terminal. But they bring, because we come in from one door, and the other people come in from another door, and we converge into the zigzag. There's even a zigzag in the basement of the airport, folks. That's right. They've even set up the obstacle course because they want you to be a hamster no matter what level of the airport you're in. So we get into the zigzag, and we're being herded onto the train to Auschwitz, and because that's what it feels like. You're just that arduous Bataan death march as you're going back and forth. And the worst part is making eye contact with the people as you keep coming through the zigzag. Oh, terrible. Well, we get in the line, and up ahead of us, there's, I can see people, and we're looking. And about 10 people ahead of me in line, all I see is a head looming above everybody else, like a big fucking round head. And I don't see the person because they're looking straight forward. But inevitably, they're going to come to the turn, and I'm going to pass them on the zigzag. So as we come up, we're moving up, and they come around the zigzag, and as he turns, he blocks out the light. All of the fluorescent lighting, all of the humming, everything comes to a stop when this guy turns up the zigzag, and I see him. This monster who I can't believe he even needs a plane. Because quite frankly, he looks like if he got angry enough, he would turn green and he'd be able to leap to his destination. But not muscular. Okay, the Hulk is muscular. This guy is fat. Now look, folks, I'm a big dude. As we know, July 1st, everything changes. I want to try to change my life, so I went and weighed in. I'm at 360 these days. That's big. That's high. That's as high as I've been in a really long time. Because when I was 340, I wrote a sad sack fucking 8,000 word thing on my blog explaining why 340 was bad. Well, now I'm at 360. I'm not writing another blog entry. I'll just tell you how fucking tragic it is. So I recognize that when I take the plane and people see me, they're just in their head, they're like, oh no. Nobody wants to fucking sit next to me, folks, when I get on the plane. They'd rather a guy with a turban full of box cutters grabbed a fucking seat next to him than have my fat ass plop down anywhere near them. Okay? Seriously, they're like, oh God, I if only a Saudi Arabian with an attitude would get on this plane right now and save me from this sweaty armed fate. That's what people say when they see me get on the fucking galley. But if I'm a giant and I recognize what an inconvenience I am, and I see a dude and I go, I do not want to get on the plane with that guy, you can imagine how fucking big this dude is. And like I said, fat, not even like muscular or like, buff. He turns the corner and that his head, like it didn't even, all right, from the back it was hair, so I could see that it was a head. But when he turned the corner, it looked like someone put the moon on a year's worth of dirty laundry. jammed into a bag, like just this horrible container that couldn't hold it. It's like I imagine like if there was a battleship or a submarine and you went into their laundry room and you just saw piles of fucking laundry. If you jammed all of that into a bag and you put the moon on top of it, you would have this fucking guy. He was so horrible, and I see him from a distance. And he turns the corner, and like I said, he's got a dip in, he's got a chaw in. Did I mention that? He's got a fucking mouthful of chewing tobacco, and and he's holding his spit cup, and he's carrying his luggage like a bag in the other one, and in this moon head and his dirty laundry body, and he's got a shirt that doesn't fit, and his gut is kind of hanging out, and he's wearing short shorts. Let's put it this way: they may have been regular shorts on a normal human being. But on him, they were definitely short shorts because his fucking ass, Charles Barkley would go, man, that's a huge ass. I mean, it was like this gigantic backyard, like fucking crammed into these shorts, stretched to the limit like a snare drum. Holy fuck. And he comes looming. He's walking down to the point where I can see people look at him when he walks by. They all turn their head in the zigzag, the people ahead of him. And I can see the people, and then like the line's not moving behind him, and I'm like, oh fuck, just come on, let's just all get out of here. So he comes walking up the zigzag, I'm walking down, and we haven't come close yet. He's still about 3 people away when it hits me, the stench. This guy. It was him. It was clearly him. That's why people behind him were not walking close. Why the line was separating. He stunk. Like it smelled like there was a fire in a frat house, and you put it out with cat urine. I mean, it was like. Does that make any sense? Because it distinctly smelled like smoke and cat piss. It smelled like a litter box filled with cat shit and milk. Like it was just fucking. Oh my god, dude. He was so vile. You know what? All right, I'll tell you. You know what else it really smelled like? Because it had that vague cat piss smell and kind of smoke. It smelled like if you were like cooking like full cat bladders on a charcoal grill. Oh my fucking god! It was so terrible. And we're walking up, and it just was. I could see people making a face like when he walked up, and I could smell it. It just. You know what? All right. Because, like I said, it smelled like cat piss, but it smelled like charcoal and stuff. But also, it smelled like this. And once he got closer, I could distinctly smell this. Imagine if you had a saucepan full of spit and you cooked it. He smelled like boiling spit. That's what he fucking smelled like. It was like a circle of hell. He was like a circle of hell in a too small t-shirt. Jesus Christ, it was so bad. So and that's why people were turning their head, because they could smell it. And he had the tobacco in, and the horrible shirt, and the shorts. And I know everybody in the plane. First of all, I'm the complete onus is off me now. No more does anybody worried about fat guy. Everybody now is like, I cannot sit next to the walking death, because he was the end of days. He was the end of days. That's what this guy was. As he went walking to the front, people would wheel their head and look, because they would smell it as he would get closer, and then when he got really close, you would really smell it. And now here's the payoff of for me the whole thing. He's got a wife. He's talking to this woman who's with him, and she's not attractive. All right, I'll say that. But perhaps she was, and I just couldn't see her through the boiling spit fumes. I have no fucking clue. It's just that guy's stench. You ever see like when the heat in Phoenix comes off the road? He had that coming off of him. Because, when you're that fat, you have your own fucking body heat problems, and it's like you radiate heat, and he's radiating heat and stench, and he's got the fucking tobacco in his mouth, and he's talking to her with the tobacco in his mouth, and oh my God, it was just a nightmare. And of course it was the shirt was one of those, if you're not a big dog, you're not the lead one on the fucking porch, whatever. The shirts I always tell you about, when you go to the fat guy store, they have tons of shirts with big dogs on them and try to trick you into getting in, because every fat guy has his personality on his shirt. That's it. Every fat guy they think every fat guy wants to wear these outsized shirts like, I'm a gregarious fat guy. No, this guy just smelled like somebody fucked an onion. Oh man. Horrible. So he stinks. He's fucking horrible. He's getting closer. And the guys in front of me are going to golf in Mexico. He had this effect where he would walk up, and as he would get close, conversation would stop. because you were afraid you would go, "Oh Lord!" Like, I mean, you didn't want to blurt that. You just tried to shut your mouth and not breathe, and pray that your eyes didn't water as the heat came off of him. The fucking radiating. He actually had stink lines. You ever see those when you draw a guy who smells and you draw stink lines coming off of him? He had them, like they were just around him, like a halo of stench. He was like Pigpen. Oh my God, it was fucking terrible. So we're going through the zigzag, and he gets closer, and then he gets right upon me, and then I really smell. That's when I smelled the boiling spit smell, and I'm like, oh Jesus. So I averted my eyes. I'm not even looking at him. I'm trying not to look, and he makes his way through the one zigzag, and I make my way up, and then you can almost hear everybody just go, like they exhale. He's that disgusting, and I know everybody is like, don't let that motherfucker be on my plane. Do not let that guy be on my plane, because that's all I'm thinking of now is he's going to sit next to me. He's in the middle seat with his fucking wife, and he's going to do to me what I've done to everybody over the million years, but at least I've been polite about it, and I wore clothes. Like, I didn't... Can you imagine if I showed up in like a fucking G-string and just a white cape, and I'm like, hey, it's Captain Handjob. Move over. I'm going to squish you. I'd be a jagoff. I apologize. I told you I used to bring money on the plane to try to switch with people. I mean, I'm very cognizant of making people uncomfortable, and I don't want to do that physically. Verbally, I don't give a fuck, but physically... So I'm in the zigzag fucking line, and now we got to pass him over and over, right? We got to keep passing this fucking dude. So as it comes up, and it's the same thing where everybody would hold their breath, and then the stench would come, and then it would pass, and then it was like a pendulum of stink. So finally, as we get to the front, we're getting to the front, and I can't even look at him anymore. Like, we're all closing our eyes, kind of turning our head or whatever. But he's oblivious. He doesn't even notice it. He's talking to his wife. He's talking about the plane. I'm sure he's a nice man. But man, he needs to be fucking washed. Like, you know what? Get him to India and worship him, and then wash him. Do that for me. So he comes around the zigzag. It was like the fifth time I've passed him. And first of all, like I said, we're downstairs in the airport. It's like this closed, enclosed. There's no fucking air. So he's filling the room with his stink. And we come around like the fifth time in the zigzag. He goes to pass me, and I just look down. I look away. And I look down, and I guess I should have looked down earlier. I guess I should have realized that this would be the case. He's in a shirt that doesn't fit, and his gut is hanging out of it. He's wearing shorts that are way too short. What else is he wearing? Well, of course he's wearing sandals. Why wouldn't he wear sandals? Why not be as offensive as you possibly can from head to fucking toe? But here's the worst. I look down and I catch a glimpse of the sandals, and I think I may have actually, I think I may have gasped. Because his feet were haunted. Dude, I swear to God. You ever see, all right, like, it was like, I almost went, don't look right into the feet. Don't look into the feet! Like, because two people had already done it, and they had melted, like the guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark, like the Nazi guy. And his skin all fell away, and it was just nothing but bones and fucking milk. Holy shit. Don't look into the feet. Don't look directly. Me and Karen Allen are walking through the zigzag. Don't look directly into the feet. I look down, and I see these feet, and holy God. It was just, it was a crime scene. It was, they were fucking... Because he was like a hairy, and he had like hobbit feet, but then he had toes, and of course he doesn't cut his toenails, so they're just fucking jagged and all over the place. And in my head, I'm like, fuck a box cutter. This guy can't bring his feet on the goddamn plane. You need to get somebody in here with a fucking bandsaw and saw those motherfuckers off. You need to go Dumb and Dumber and get a goddamn sander, a belt sander or something, and fucking hone those motherfuckers down, because he is going to do some damage to somebody. Jesus fuck. I can't even, no wonder his wife's wearing pants. Her fucking legs look like a Wolverine went at it, because she's got to sleep next to that motherfucker. His feet look like, seriously, I wanted to just fucking scream and put yellow tape around his feet and call David Caruso. Seriously, I wanted, so that Caruso could look at his feet and just go, looks like these little piggies went all the way to the funeral home. Yeah! Puts on the sunglasses. Oh, fucking terrible. I couldn't believe it. They were just the legendary feet. So then then when we came around the zigzag again, I looked at like the golfer dudes, and I'm like, tut, tut, tut. I elbowed the fucking dude, and he looks at me, and he looks down, and he's just like, oh, like I think he gagged. Like, horrible. And he's going to Mexico. That guy's going to see all sorts of horrible fucking things. So we see the feet. We see the fucking, this fucking battleship of a man as he stinks, and he's fucking dripping out of his clothes. And again, no muscle tone whatsoever. It looks like Bob's Big Boy came to life and shed his overalls and decided to dress up like he went to a NASCAR fucking event. So he comes through, and and I showed tatted up too, by the way, of course, tatted up. And he had a tattoo on his forearm of a skull and crossbones, which made sense because he was sweating poison. It dawned on me. I'm like, you know what? Maybe he didn't actually choose that. Maybe it was chosen for him. They went, fuck, we got to put a warning label on this fat fuck. Because Jesus Christ, this guy is noxious. And I'm talking with an X, a C, K, S, and an H. Noxious. Woo! Awful. So tatted up, fucking skull and crossbones, wife talking, and they're just like oblivious to the fact that everybody is making eye contact. Like if we were on a lifeboat, that guy's going the fuck over because everybody has mentally connected with this guy's the problem. So they finally get to the front, and they go to put their clothes on the conveyor belt and get on the plane. And, you got to take your shoes off. You got to do all that kind of stuff. So he kicks his sandals off, which, and they, as they came off of feet, you heard a Velcro noise, just like that. Like because they were stuck onto his his fat feet were flat, and so it was like they were stuck on them like a plunger. So he had to almost peel them off of his feet, and he put his stuff up there. He very polite. He put his wife's stuff up on the conveyor belt. His wife took her shoes off, and she went through first. So then he took the sandals off. He peeled them off, unstuck them from his feet, and put them through. And he goes to walk over, and they make you stop and wait, and they let everybody go through, and then they make you pose at the thing. He walks in, and you can see the TSA guys even are like, whew. When he went through the zigzag, they were like, oh, and the woman at the podium, as he walked by, she looked at the next person and went, wow. Like, because he was so disgusting. And he finally puts all of his stuff in the conveyor belt. He peels the sandals off. He goes to the conveyor thing where they make you walk through, and they didn't have the pat down. They had the machine where you got to look through and they x-ray you. But if you don't choose the x-ray, then they pat you down. So the guy's wife goes through, and she goes and stands by the machine. And again, I cannot tell you enough. We are a hive mind at that point. Everyone in the place is like, we can't wait to get this motherfucker away from us. Everybody, even the agents, everyone can sense it. You can smell him. He's just a vile creature. And he goes walking up, and the guy says, all right, your turn. And he says, well, I don't want to use that. And the guy says, what? And he goes, I don't want to use that radiation machine. And they go, well, if you don't use the radiation machine, we got to pat you down, right? And he goes, I don't care. I don't want to go. I don't want to get x-rayed. I don't want that radiation machine on me. And the TSA guy, I could actually see him consider it. He paused, and he looked at him, looked the guy kind of up and down, and he went, you know what, just go through. Waved the guy through. He made him go through the metal detector part, but he didn't. This guy basically played, stink poker with him and said, yeah, I don't care, pat me down. Go ahead, touch me up, feel me up. And this guy, you saw him just like back down and go, not interested. Not this morning, way fucking early for this sort of activity. And he just waves him right through the metal detector. He even steps aside, like stands back and lets him go through it. I'm like, wait a minute. How the fuck did that guy just, because that guy, he has a skull and crossbones tattooed on his arm. You got to search this motherfucker. Who knows what the fuck is wrong? We're hearing that Al-Qaeda might be sewing bombs into people's guts for Christ's sake, like the Joker in Dark Knight. You're not going to tap this fucking guy down? So you know what that guy, you know why he let him through? Because literally, tattoo, obese, sandals, shirt that didn't fit with the fucking big dog on it, and dip in his mouth. That guy was America. That's why he didn't pat him down. Oh my God. That guy was America in human form. And he just said, yeah, go through. And I'm like, dude, that guy's a dirty bomb. Literally. You just let a dirty bomb into the fucking airport. And you didn't do anything about it. And I got to say, I don't care. None of us cared. We just wanted him as far away from us as fucking possible. And all of us now were just still praying he wasn't going to be on our fucking flight. But at that same time in my head, I was like, because he bitched about it. He bitched about the thing, and he used his stink as a weapon. And I actually was taken aback. In my head, I'm like, wait. All that fat bastard had to do was cry, and he gets to do what he wants? What about the rest of us? Fuck, if that plane goes down because that motherfucker couldn't be bothered to do his job, I am going to be fucking furious. And I'm not even on his plane, I don't think. I pray to God I'm not. Jesus. But sure enough, man, I go through, and his stink is still lurking, and then he makes his way out of the room, and you could hear this murmur, like everybody's just like, Oh my God, could you believe that? I couldn't believe that. Could you believe that? And we're all looking at each other and nodding. Like we had all been, they should have had grief counselors at the fucking airport. Because as a group, we had all been through a traumatic event. Like, it's funny, in Fearless, Jeff Bridges crashes, and then he has to keep going to see a psychologist because he got out of a plane crash. They should have had those guys on hand for us because that was as bad as a plane crash. Honestly, it was so fucking atrocious. He stunk so bad. And, he had to know. Like, he has to know, right? Or doesn't his wife know, or don't they know? I mean, whatever. Just lack of hygiene. So I take my shoes off. I go through the TSA thing. I use a different one because I don't even want my fucking clothes on the conveyor belt where his sandals were. I want nothing to do with it. And I go through. I get patted down. That's fine. We keep moving. But here's the weird thing. Like I said, we're downstairs. So they go, okay, you're going to walk through this hallway. Just take a right, and there's some zigzags. You'll see some signs that'll take you to your gate. So I start walking, and I start going through, and then we're in these thin hallways. Like, airports are big, big places. Usually those moving walkways. There's all sorts of stuff. Well, we're moving through hallways that are really narrow, and we're kind of turning left and right, and then there's all these work rooms, and they're open. And I'm in the hallway, and it's me, and then there's a woman and another woman who's on who has a cane or crutches, a cane. She had a crutch. Did she have a crutch? No, she had a wheelchair. That's what it was. And they brought her down, and then she had a cane. So I said to her, I go, do you need help? She's like, no, I'm fine. So we go walking through, and I start noticing there's these open doors with this humming machinery. And there's a room full of CO2 canisters. And then this engine thing. And we're walking, and I look at the women, and I go, aren't they supposed to keep the general public out of these areas of the airport? I keep waiting for Bruce Willis to show up and crawl through the ceiling and try to get rid of us. And they start laughing. They go, this is really weird because we're in the bowels of the airports trying to get to the gates. And nope, there's no supervision. There's no security. They're just they made us walk through. I don't know. Again, it could have been soda machines. I don't know what the fuck it was, but you looked in and it sure looked like a bunch of CO2 canisters and it looked dangerous as fuck. But I guess they figured me and these two fat old ladies weren't going to do anything. So they let us walk through this fucking hallway. But it was so crazy to be in the basement of the airport. So then I went upstairs and I took my flight. As I told you, I was on Virgin. It was fantastic. And I fly into Seattle, and I got to tell you, man, usually when I'm landing, I go ahead and I told you I listen to Tool, so I did. I switched over to Tool as they bring us into landing. I start listening to my Tool set list, and Seattle's beautiful. Oh my God! Like I'd never been, and just the flight coming in, you can see because it's all water. There's water all over the place, and it's just there's ferries, you can see them moving, and it's just people are on the water having fun, and then you see the baseball stadium. It's just look at an amazing city, great skyline, and just beautiful. So we come in, we land, I get in, and like I said, I haven't slept. I didn't really sleep on the plane. I get out, I go to rent my car, and of course, whenever I rent cars now, I'm all excited because they're in the terminal, because I hate those fucking when you have to take the bus 45 minutes off site. Because it gums up the works on when I'm going to get to my hotel. So sure enough, thankfully, I had to go to the Alamo desk in the hotel. And I walked up, and all the desks were very busy, except Alamo, that had a sign that said closed. You must go to the gate outside. So I had to walk through the airport and go up and down like 3 escalators, whatever the fuck, and I get to the desk. And I finally get to the front, and they're like, hey, they try to talk you into an upgrade to a Dodge Charger, which I'm there 6 hours. I don't need a fucking Dodge Charger. So they gave me a choice. They said, well, we have the Chrysler, you're fucked, or we have the Chevrolet Grandfather. Which one do you want to take? And I took the Chevrolet Grandfather, of course. So I grabbed my Impala, and I left the site. I drove off, and then I printed out all my airport to theater to hotel, hotel to airport. So I'm flipping through my Google Maps. I'm driving, and Seattle, it was all freeway from the airport. I was 25 miles from the airport is where I was staying, and I was 10 miles from the theater. I passed the theater to go further north to where I was staying. That looked weird. I get distracted by something. Never mind, folks. So I pull in and I go to find my hotel, and I start following the exits, and I wind up on a boulevard called Aurora Boulevard, which is also the First Avenue, which is also the 99. I don't know why people have done that. I don't know why one street is 3 streets, but it is. So I pull in and I drive past downtown Seattle, which is where the show is. That's where the theater is, and that's where all the cool hotels are. I was able to get a hotel the night before, and I wound up at a Holiday Inn Suites, which is a big deal because I guess it's all suites. So but I don't know. I have no idea. I've never been there. So I turn right onto Aurora Avenue, and I'm driving, and I can just see Seattle falling apart as I drive. And falling away into like literally, you know what? It's Aurora Avenue and it's First Avenue and it's the 99. It might also function as Martin Luther King Boulevard in some cities, because as I'm driving, or any state boulevard, Alabama Street, you know what I mean, or Houston Avenue, like anything named after a city or something like that is always in like the worst area. And I'm driving, and sure enough, I'm seeing like the TikTok Motel, pawn shops, all of this. And I'm like, oh, fuck, really? Is this where I'm going to be staying? And as I'm driving, sure enough, the Voyeur, an adult bookstore, which made me laugh because they had a logo, like they had a little mascot guy. The logo for the Voyeur was two eyes, like looking out, like outside and like looking about with like a hand, like next to the eyes. And in my head, I'm like, you know what? If you were being honest with yourselves, you would have covered one of those eyes. You would have just had like a hole in the wall with one eye peeking through. It's an adult bookstore, for Christ's sake. You're not fancy. You're not French. Table the French. Guys are coming in to jerk off. So you might as well just name the place Ha Ha Ha. So I'm driving down, and I'm looking for my hotel. But thankfully, I will tell you this. As I'm driving, I get out of that area. Now it's all fast food, like a general off-ramp you would find for a highway. And as I'm driving, there it is, the Holiday Inn Suites. I pull in, and now it's about 1:30. So I have to be up by 5 to get a shower to get to do tech at 6. So I figure I'll check in, and I can get at least 3 hours of sleep. That'll be fine. So I walk in, and I go to the counter, and there's a nice young man in a goatee and wire-rimmed glasses. And I said, hey, I'm checking in. He goes, ooh, it's a little early to be checking in. And I've heard tales of this, okay? I've heard that there are hotels all over America that won't let you check in until a certain time. But in my travels and doing Priceline, I have not run into that. I mean, I've shown up at some hotels at 11 o'clock in the morning. I've shown up at some hotels at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they just accommodate me, and they give me a room. So he says, it's a little early to be checking in. And I said, yeah, it's 1:30 in the afternoon. I don't think it's early. He goes, well, check-in time's at 3. I said, I get that, but you know what? I would really like to check in. I've been on a plane from Los Angeles. I haven't slept. And he goes, okay. The problem is we were sold out last night, so we don't have any rooms. They're still cleaning them. It's 1:30 now, so I can check in at 3 o'clock. And I said, so you're telling me I'm fucked? Because that's what I do, folks. I go from 0 to 100 in a second. Because I couldn't believe, because I was gentle about it the first time. I'm like, look, I haven't slept. I was on a plane from Los Angeles. I have something to do in like 3 hours. I'd really like to check in. He goes, yeah, well, it's 1:30 and there are no clean rooms, so I'll have to check in at 3 o'clock. I said, so you're telling me I'm fucked, huh? And he goes, excuse me? And I go, you're telling me I'm fucked. You're telling me it's 1:30 in the afternoon. What have your maids been doing? They haven't cleaned anything the entire day? Are they just sitting around like folding towels and smoking? Why the fuck aren't there any clean rooms? What's your name? And he goes, Gavin. I go, Gavin, I've been on a plane all night. I didn't sleep all day yesterday. I came from Los Angeles. I came right here from the airport. I have a show tonight. I have to be somewhere at 7 o'clock, like a presentation. I was hoping to get 3 hours of sleep. You're telling me you can't fucking put me in a room for another hour and a fucking half. Really? No clean rooms in the entire fucking hotel. Because I've had no sleep, folks. And I didn't take very kindly to him just immediately dismissing me out of hand with, yeah, check-in's at 3. He didn't push any buttons. He didn't clip-clop the computer. He didn't look at anything. He just said check-in's at 3. And I was furious, and I lost my mind, which was stupid. It was dumb. It was not something I should... Because, again, flies, vinegar, honey, all that bullshit, you know what I'm talking about, right? Well, I'm supposed to be... That's what I'm supposed to do, but instead I vomited vinegar all over this motherfucker. I should have put out a bowl of honey and said, here you go, Gavin. Dip your finger in that and enjoy it. But instead, I vomited vinegar all over this motherfucker because I could not believe that I wasn't going to get any sleep. Already I wasn't fucking asleep, and now I'm really not going to get some fucking sleep. So he goes, well, sir, that's just the way it is. It's the way it works. I'm very sorry. There's nothing I can do. And I go, fine. I want my money back. I'll go find another place. There's enough hotel. And he goes, well, all right, what's your name? And I told him, and he looks it up, and he goes, looks here like you did it through Priceline, so you're going to have to talk to them. I go, so you're telling me not only you don't have any fucking clean rooms, but now I have to go through the internet to get my fucking money back because you won't accommodate me. And he goes, sir, I wish I could help you. And then a woman comes out of the back because someone else came and was to get checked in. And the woman goes, hi, can I help you folks? And she goes, oh, Gavin, here, these are the clean rooms. Gives him a Post-it note with 20 room numbers on it. That if he would have gone and asked one fucking person, he would have known they had, rather than just immediately shooing me out the door till fucking 3. And I just looked at him and he goes, "Oh, sir, we do. Oh, you know what? We do have some clean rooms." And I go, "Good." And he goes, "But unfortunately, early check-in is given to Priority Club members." Which led me to believe that maybe Gavin wasn't as worried or scared of me as I thought he was when I got pissed off and lost my mind. Because he sure looked like he was taken aback and made a face. But now this was his time to go ahead and extract a little revenge. I'm not in the fucking Priority Club. So he's going to wait, for 20 Priority Club members to show up before fucking 3 o'clock and get these fucking rooms ahead of me? And I looked at him and I go, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Yeah, it's just for Priority Club members. So if any Priority Club members come in, they get first dibs on the rooms before 3 o'clock. And I went, "Gavin, you've got to be fucking..." And I didn't even get kidding me out. And he goes, "But, sir, if you'd like to apply for our Priority Club, I can put you in right now, and then we can get you checked in." So he was just, you know what he was doing? And I recognize it because I've been that guy. That was his power. That was his hammer. He wanted to flex his muscles a little bit to show me that I was not bullying him or pushing him around, and that he could, if he really wanted to, he could keep me out of the room. But he was going to be a good guy and go ahead and put me in the room. That's what he was doing. And at that point, I was so fucking tired, I went, "You know what? Whatever you have to do to get me to sleep, do it." He goes, "All right, what's your email address?" And then they put me in the Priority Club. And he goes, "All right, sir, here's your keys." And he goes, "Hold on, there's a goodie bag for joining the Priority Club." I go, "Gavin, I don't need a goodie bag." He goes, "It's not a problem, sir. It's right here." And he pulls it up, and it was like one of those, it looked like Chinese takeout, like a pagoda box that was all folded up. And he hands it to me, and I go, "Oh, all right, well, thanks." And I go upstairs. And I start to unpack, and I put some things up, and I sit down, and I'm trying to decompress because I've been up, and I got adrenaline from downstairs, and it's like 1:45 now, and I have to be at the theater at 6, which means I got to be up at 5. I got to shower, so I'm like, I'll go ahead and get some sleep. But first, I got to check out what this goodie bag is. Look, it's the Holiday Inn Suites. It's fancier than the Holiday Inn. And now I'm a Priority Club member. What is my goodie bag going to be? I open it up. Oh, folks. Let me tell you about the bounty of treasures that await you if you join the Holiday Inn Suites Priority Club. I open up this little Chinese takeout pagoda. First of all, there's a travel-size water. 16 ounces right there, like the one behind you. A travel-size water. Off-brand. It's like some weird Lunesta brand, whatever the fuck. Lunesta's a medicine, right? I don't think it was Lunesta. It was some weird medicine. Some weird name. Look, if that's enough. That's quite enough for me. Priority Club. Priority. Give me... Quench my thirst. That's all I need to be in the Priority Club. But no. In addition to that, folks, oh my God, look at it right there. Peanut butter, cheese, and crackers. Right there. A package of peanut butter, cheese, and crackers. Astonishing. I couldn't believe it. So I take out the peanut butter, cheese, and crackers, and right next to that, a welcome bag of Planters roasted peanuts. Oh my God. What an exclusive club you've made me a member of, Gavin. Cheese and crackers, peanuts, travel-size 16-ounce water, and what's this? Mott's fruit snacks? You flatter me, sir. So I opened them all up, but that's it. That's all it was. It was 3 children's snacks and a travel-size water. You're our priority, sir. Such a priority that we went to Smart and Final and bought bulk candies and snacks and broke them down individually into Chinese pagoda-looking travel boxes just for you. Thank you, Gavin. When I eat this cracker, I'll remember how important I am to you and the Holiday Inn family. So I stack those up on my desk. And I go, I got to get some fucking sleep. And I should tell you, by the way, I get into Seattle and I'm driving. It is a beautiful place. But as I'm driving, it is gloomy as fuck. I mean, I thought everybody warned me about Portland's weather, but nobody told me about Seattle. I showed up, and it's like I should have known because I get off the plane and look around, and it's like Seattle was cloudy with a chance of now I know why Kurt Cobain shot himself. That's how bad the fucking weather was. Holy shit! I was just it was just this land of infinite sadness. I don't care if it's an emerald jewel on the Puget Sound. As you drove, it was like driving through clouds of depression. Jesus Christ. Maybe that's what the Voyeur's logo was trying to do. He was trying to peer out through the suicidal thoughts of the populace to try to lure somebody in to buy a fucking dental dam. Jesus, was it gloomy. So of course I Twittered that immediately. I'm like, I got to Twitter that. I Twitter it, and I go to sleep, and I had my air on in my room so I could listen to it, but it was still kind of cold, so I went under the covers. and I could not sleep. I was just wired from the fight, and it was cold, and I tried to sleep, and I laid there from it was about 2:10 when I laid down, and finally I tossed and turned, and I looked at the clock. It was 3:25. That was the last time I looked at the clock, and I had to be up at 5. So I go, you could just get up, or you could. I go, fuck it, just sleep, lay here, just relax, just do something to get the tension out. Because the reason I need to get up at 5 is, I'll tell you, folks, I need to get up, I need to get a shower, and I need to go over the show. I need to figure out what I'm going to say and what I'm going to talk about. I got to learn some jokes for you folks. Preferably not ones that rhyme. What the fuck am I? The Jesse Jackson of podcasting. So I lay there. Finally, 3:25 is the last time I remember looking at the clock, and then I nodded off. I did nod off. My wake-up call comes, and I was worried that it wouldn't, because I thought Gavin would be so pissed that he wouldn't make me a wake-up call. But then I remembered, fuck that, I'm in the Priority Club. You have to call me. Why not? I've forever changed in Gavin's eyes. I'm no longer that foul-mouthed asshole who berated him in front of God and everybody else at the desk. I'm now in the Priority Club. I'm worthy of a cracker. So I wake up with I get in. I've only had about an hour and a half of sleep. I get up and I shake it off. I take a shower, get ready to go, put some product in my hair. Now, here's my new strategy, folks. I put product in my hair. Remember, I told you I put product in my hair, but then it doesn't matter because it all goes to shit anyway. Well, then I slick it back, and then I wore a baseball hat to keep my hair slicked back like I used to in the old days when I would go on the road. So I wore a baseball hat over it to try to make it dry in place. Even though Lily says it won't work. Ha-ha, I proved her wrong. It worked. And then I get in the car, and I have to go. I have to be there at 6. So I leave at 5:45 to get to Tech. And what I have to do is I go up to 99, because it said I could take the 5, but I'm like, fuck that. I'm not taking the 5. It's right around traffic time in Seattle. I'm just going to drive up to 99. So I'm driving up to 99. I'm driving up to 99. I'm driving up to 99. I'm supposed to go a certain amount of miles. I look at my little odometer and the Chevy Grandfather, and I keep driving. I look over at my, fucking map from Google Maps, and it says I'm going to find Battery Street and take a sharp right. So I'm driving, and Seattle has apparently decided they don't need street signs. Because I'm just on the 99 and I'm driving, and there's several sharp rights with no sign whatsoever. I'd pass them. I get caught in this traffic on the 99, which is kind of like a bridge, and it says to the right at this point, it says to the right are ferries. To the left is this other street. And I'm like, oh, okay, I pick up my GPS on my phone now, and it turns out I've missed Battery Street completely. And now I get dumped into downtown Seattle. I'm actually at Quest Field, where the Seattle Seahawks play football, and I'm there by the Mariner Stadium as well, which I think is it Invesco Field? It might be. I don't know. Regardless, I'm at the baseball stadiums, and I'm looking, and I'm supposed to find First Street, and it's telling me I got to double back. And again, when you're downtown, what does it turn into? One-way street fiesta. So you can't turn left, then you can't turn right. You're moving. I'm trying to move around. My GPS is going, turn here. No, I can't fucking turn here, robot. But I'm trying to figure out where I'm going. Time's ticking away. I'm trying to because I got to get there at 6 o'clock for Tech, because these guys never met me. They don't know me at all. They don't know a fucking thing about me. And so I've got to get there and square away. I've got to teach them the music cues, and I've got to get there and get ready, and I got to think of some jokes. Because again, show's at 7:30. If the show's at 8, I get that cushion, but I don't. I have to get there and fucking get this done. Time is ticking. I'm caught in a loop. I can't make a left-hand turn. Can't make a right-hand turn. Downtown Seattle. I'm driving. I'm looking. People on bikes. I see First Avenue. So I turn left onto First Avenue. I'm driving. I'm looking. I look at my clock. It's 6:40. Show's at 7:30. I haven't even done Tech yet. I call up the bar, and there's a guy named Steve who I'm supposed to be dealing with. A guy named Steve and a guy named Jason. So guy at the bar answers. I go, is this Steve? He goes, yeah, it is. I go, hey, Steve, it's Mike. I'm coming in. I'm just about there. I know I was supposed to do Tech at 6 o'clock, but I'll be there very soon. And there's a beat, and he goes, who are you? I go, I'm Mike. And he goes, I don't know any Mike. I said, Steve, I'm the first act tonight at the Rendezvous, because there's an act after me playing at 10 o'clock. He goes, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, Jason's here. He's going to do your stuff. And I go, great, I'm late, I know, but I'm trying to find a place to go. He goes, no problem, just get here when you can. So I'm moving, I'm hustling. I'm on First Avenue. The theater's on 2nd Avenue, so I'm looking at my GPS. I'm getting close. But here's the thing, folks. It's right downtown. And the Rendezvous Theater, where I'm playing, does not have a parking lot because it's right downtown. Nobody has a parking lot. They have that thing where you got to park for $12 for all night, that type of deal, or you park on the street. Well, I'm late, so I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know if I want to park in a lot or I'm looking around. So I turn onto 2nd Avenue and I see the Rendezvous, but there's no parking at all. So I got to drive all the way down, and it's another fucking one-way street. I turn around, I turn this way, that way. I finally get back onto First, and there's a spot. I see a spot open up, so I fucking do a U-turn, which I real dangerous. I just fucking winged it right in the middle of the street, and I parked. I took that spot, and it says 2-hour parking. Well, I'm never going to be out of there in 2 hours, but then the more I read it, I realize it's between 8 and 6, and that's okay. It's 5 to 7 now. So I park the car, and I hustle. I walk across the street. I get to the Rendezvous Theater, and outside are some people that recognize me. They're nice. Steven is there with Angie. They're nice people from Portland who've come up. And I say hi to them, and Steve's got the list. He's got the Propel, and he's got the list for me, the will call list. So I walk in, and I bring the will call list. I hand it to Steven, who is in the bar, and then I meet Jason, and he's like, let's do the tech. I try to run him through it. I go, and he won't, he's driving me crazy. He was a very nice guy, but I wanted to go up into the booth and run it so he could hear it, so he would have an example of what it sounded like. And he goes, well, you can just tell me down here. I go, all right, but it's better if you hear it because you'll hear it fade or you hear the hard stops. I go, I've given you a sheet with all of it on there, but I want to make sure you did it. And he's like, well, just let's do it here. So we did. We were forced to do it in the showroom as people were waiting outside to get seated. He and I went through the tech. And finally we finished. It was like 10 after 7 or quarter after 7. People are waiting to come in. I go in the back in the green room, and I've got fucking 15 minutes to look at my scripts and go through my jokes. And Lily's making a face because she knows me and she knows I'm an idiot. And as many times as I've done it now, I still want to try to get used to, I have to make myself realize that it's going to be good. I mean, I have to kind of convince myself and wrap myself up. So I go into the back. Really? Jesus Christ. All right. So I go into the back, sit in the green room, and I should tell you this too. Jane, the woman who booked me in the Rendezvous, she was really, really helpful. In the beginning, she was kind of like, well, I don't know if we can give you a Friday. And she wasn't sure if that was going to work because they have a bar and they sell food, and she wasn't sure if they'd make enough money. And she basically made it sound like the place was, this might not be the place for you. It's kind of a nice place, and da-da-da, we sell food. And in my head, I was like, oh, well, like I said, we wound up having a big discussion that took an hour, but then eventually she hung up and she went and listened to the podcast and came back and she goes, I love it. I really want you here. And then from that point on, she was a champion. 9 emails, anything I needed. Here's a contract. Let's square this away. Here's Jason. I could answer all your questions. Everything was fucking fantastic. So I get there. I go back into the green room to kill time. And there's graffiti everywhere. Like all over the walls, there's writing, including like 19 cocks are drawn on the walls, like all over the place. Like literally, like there's these pictures, like dirty pictures, and people are like, fuck that guy, and there's all over the back. And I'm like, wait a minute, you busted my balls because you weren't sure that I was good enough to come in on a Friday night and play this theater? And I go in the back and it's like cock central all over the fucking walls in Sharpie? I'm face to face with 19 Sharpie cocks, and you're telling me that I'm not good enough to be in this fucking theater? Which is not true. That's just me, of course. That's me going Gavin on the whole situation. But again, with no fucking sleep. But it made me laugh that I'm in the back in a green room, and it looks like every green room I've ever been in is just covered in fucking filthy graffiti, and there's, old food in the back. I mean, not old food, but like old drinks. I don't want to make the place sound like a shithole. It wasn't. It was very nice. But it did smell like French fries, like the whole area, because it's like, it's a restaurant next door. So I went out on stage. I sit in the back. We started the show at 7:35. And I was looking, it was funny, I walk out into the room, again, as it always happens. People know me, but I don't know them. So I said hello to everybody, and I'm talking. And I needed somebody to hold my phone. And so I found a woman named Kelsey, who was in the audience. I'll tell you this story real fast. Because I was looking for, there was this woman named KC from Portland who I knew was coming up. And I wanted her to hold my phone because she had been seeing me in Portland, and I knew I could trust her. Because I didn't want to leave it in the back of the green room, because inevitably I would come back after the show, and someone would have drawn a cock on it with a Sharpie. So I needed somebody to hold it out in the showroom. So I walk out and I couldn't find KC. So I said hi to some people. And then there was this girl, Kelsey. She was in the second row. And I didn't know her. I'd never met her. But I knew that she was close and I could keep an eye on her so I'd see her if she left. So, and she looked trustworthy. She's a young girl. And she was with her father, who's an older gentleman. He was bald and a gray beard. And I don't think he had any fucking clue who I was or what I was going to do. But I walk out and I said, I meet her. And I say, hey, Kelsey, can you hold my phone? She's like, what? I go, can you hold my phone during the show? I don't want to leave it back in the green room. She's like, yeah, of course I'll hold your phone. So she held my phone. And like I said, show started about 7:35. It was fucking great. I mean, it turned out, it was just amazing. I got on stage and, the crowd, we had walk-ups, and the best part, it was a mix of people. Like 8 people came from Portland for the show. And then there were people there who just saw the ad in the paper and bought it just based on literally on the words, the 40-year-old boy, success is not an option. Didn't even my name, but they bought it off of that. There was another guy there who does a show there, weekly, and he was learning about one man shows, and he came to check it out. He's written me since, and then just other fans. I mean, and everybody was great. Everybody was there, and again, as I stress every time I go to one of these shows, it's just such an amazing difference to have a room full of people who know what you're going to do and want you to do it instead of waiting for you to prove that you're funny. And again, that's on me because I'm lazy. I should be proving that I'm funny. I should be playing for strangers, and eventually I will have to. But some of these people were strangers, and they were on board with it. It was great. Kelsey's dad enjoyed it. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. And like I said, we started about 7:35, and they told me they had another act at 10. So I had to be done by 10 o'clock. Folks, I did the show, and I was done at 1 minute to 10. Literally, I finished at 9:59. So it was about 2 hours and 25 minutes was the show. And it went great. Everybody was fantastic, and they could not have been nicer. And then afterwards, I went in the back, and I can't explain to you. And every time I say this, the shows are getting better and better. All right, whenever I go out now, because as I'm getting used to doing them, I can find a rhythm. And I was going to say kind of find a rhythm. I said find a rhythm. Terrible. It's long, folks. It's a long show. But the very fact that people keep coming out to support is fantastic, and it allows me to be able to be looser and find what I want to do within the body of the show and make it a little different. And I actually talked to the people from Portland because, like I said, it was Dustin and Michelle and Lauren came, and like I said, Steven and Angie were there. And they might be in Seattle, Steven and Angie. I don't know. They might have come from Portland. I don't remember. And KC, of course, came, and Mary came. Mary came to Portland with her sister, but then she came up by herself, drove up to see me in Seattle. It was just amazing. People are friends. Like, it's so odd. I don't know how to explain it. Like, nobody's a fan. You know what I mean? They are, but then they come out and we hung out. The show was great. Afterwards, I took pictures and I shook hands. Brent, a kid, came from Orange County on a bus. And he was going to be on a bus, missed his Greyhound, and hitchhiked to Seattle to see the show with his skateboard. Came up to see it. Astonishing. He was there. Victor was there. This guy, Victor. Colomona was there, and I hope I'm saying his name right because I always thought his name was Columna, but I think it's Colomona. And he brought his girlfriend. Everybody, these just really nice people who came up and said hi, took pictures. Mike, who started the entire page, there was a guy, Mike, who's actually from Canada, started the Seattle page, and then drove from Canada for the show. Fucking amazing. And very nice. Everybody took photos. And if I'm forgetting your name or to mention you, I do apologize. I'm just going off the top of my head. But everybody was great and just fantastic. Came out. We had a great time. The show was great. And then I hung out with the Portland people afterwards. We hung out for like an hour and a half outside drinking. They had some beers and we hung out talking and goofing around. And then afterwards, it kind of broke up. I kept wondering if we all wanted to go eat together, but none of us knew anything about downtown Seattle. We didn't know where to go. So we split up. I walked with Lauren and Michelle and Dustin to their car, and Mary, we took them, and then I was going to walk KC back to her car. And I honestly did not feel like going back to the hotel, and I didn't feel like asking people to just schlep me. Because they were going to go eat, Michelle and them, but we would have driven all over the city looking for a place, whatever. So that just seemed odd with 9 people. So as we're driving, I'm walking KC to her car, and I said, "Hey, do you want to eat something?" And she's like, "Yeah." She goes, I could have something, like a dessert or something. I'm like, all right, because by now it's like 12:30. So we went and got my car. And, first we walked around looking for food in downtown Seattle. And all it is food carts. You know what I mean? And I wanted to sit down somewhere. And it was just crazy young people out drinking. And I'm walking with KC, and I'm like, I even said to her, I go, I think we should start grounding people. I mean, like, this is... Because she said, we are so old right now. I said, yeah, this is how we are the oldest people on this fucking block. So we're walking around. I asked a couple of doormen whether you could get some food, and they said, we don't know. Everything closes down, only food till 11. It's all booze now. I said, great. So I said, let's find my car. We'll sit in it. I'll Google something. We'll find something close by. So I found a restaurant. I got out of my car. We drove. And we drove down the block just to get away from downtown, to get a little breathing room. And we went up right by Deja Vu Strip Club, which was kind of funny. And I looked at her, I go, you want to eat in there? She's like, yeah, I don't think so. All right, I didn't think so. So we pull over, and I use my GPS, and I figure out where we're at, and I Google 24-hour Seattle restaurants, whatever. And it said late night dining. There was a place called List, which is like a late night Italian joint. And I look at the address, and I ask KC where we're at. She finds a number. I start to look on my GPS. This is not a lie. List was directly across the street from where I was parked. and had driven away from to get up the street to get some breathing room to check my GPS. Because I wanted to do it in that parking spot. I got in and I pulled my phone out, and a guy immediately pulled up to take my spot. So I hate making people wait. So I drove away, and I gave that guy the spot directly across the street from List. Place closes at 2. And I go, well, we can go back there. So we drove back. We waded into the fucking young people with the car, and it was just a zoo. And there was no spots. There was nowhere to park. And she looked at me. She goes, this isn't going to work. So I had to make a left-hand turn because it was one way. So I turned down there, and I turned down another street, turn right, turn left, turn right. And I come all the way up, and it's empty, thankfully. But I'm back on First Avenue because we're going to double back and go park a place by List. And as we pull out, we look, and directly across the street is a place called Lucky Diner. The Lucky Diner. And I'm like, come on, really? And directly across the street of the Lucky Diner is a parking spot. And I look at her and I go, would you object to going to this place? She goes, no, let's go. And I pulled in, I parked. We went into Lucky Diner. And it was a funky diner. That was great. It wasn't like a Denny's piece of shit. It was, they sold beer. They had, she had a couple of beers. And she had weirdly a hot fudge brownie sundae with beer. Horrible, KC. But she's like a runner, so she can afford to eat and drink that kind of shit. I'm like, so I ordered. Here's what I got. I got the pineapple, like they had like a Hawaiian plate or something. It was like pulled pork with rice and macaroni salad, but I substituted this stuff called Lucky Beans, which is like black eyed peas and greens and onions, and it was awesome. It was so good, and I'm like, it was perfect. And she and I hung out for like an hour and a half and talked. And Casey and I had a good time. It was great. I took her back to her car finally at the end of it because she was staying downtown. She was lucky. I still had to drive fucking 10 miles. And we finished eating. I dropped her at her car at like 2 o'clock, I think. And I get back to my hotel room. And my flight was at 7:20. So it meant I had to be at the airport probably at 6. And again, I'm 25 miles from the airport. So I get to the room. It's 2:40 by the time I get there. I check some Twitters. My phone battery was dying, so I couldn't do anything with it. So I plug it into the wall, and it won't charge. I'm furious because that means in the morning I'm not going to be able to listen to the fucking headset on the plane, which will drive me crazy. So I pack, I get everything all squared away, and I lay down to go to sleep at 4:20. And I'm going to get an hour and a half of sleep. And I go, you know what? Just fuck this, dude. Leave. Go to the airport now. Just go now. So again, I didn't sleep. I got up, I got dressed, I packed everything, and I went down to go to my car. And I went to check out. It's funny, when I walked in, I asked the guy, I go, is there a business center? And he goes, are you staying here? I said, yeah. And he goes, it's right there. So I sat down. And I go, aha, you thought I was fooling you with my I'm staying here bullshit, right? And he was offended that I said bullshit. And he said, sir, we don't use that kind of language in here. The guy at the Holiday Inn graveyard thing. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. So I didn't want to call him a chance of wake-up call. That's why I decided to leave. So I checked out, bailed. I went to the airport. And I went to charge my phone. And I looked around because it was funny. When I was in the LAX, I was making fun of the Best Buy machines where you can buy earbuds and stuff like that. Because, Fox, I got my tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds. I don't need any fucking earbuds. But what I do need is a phone charger. And so I'm laughing at myself because I'm like, really? Now I've got to buy a phone charger from a Best Buy vending machine in Seattle after making fun of it in LA. So I start walking around. I go through security. I get in the airport. I check in. And I start walking around looking for the Best Buy thing. And I walk to 2 different gates. I walk to the B gates and the C gates. And I can't find any Best Buy vending machine. So I go to the food court. There's like a food court. And there's right in the middle of it, there's like a coffee shop. And I don't check out the name of it. Okay. So I walk up, and I'm in line just to ask if she knows where I can charge my phone. As I'm waiting in line, I look at the counter, and it says free, take one. And I do a double take because it's a big container of Orange Supplies, which is the candy that I buy. I buy like the red, white, and blue ones I eat, but I get rid of the orange ones. I don't like them, but they're given. Of course, they're given away free. They're the shitty ones. But I look and I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell is that? So I look and they've got all these desserts in the counter, and they got like water and milk and stuff. And I look up at the name of the place. It's Dilettante Coffees and Chocolates. Dilettante makes the supplies that I buy at Trader Joe's. I walk around the side. There's a huge shelf of my supplies. Like, I haven't had them since, July 1st. I haven't had them since June 30th. And they're there. Just this huge pile of them. And they got different colors, like pink. I never saw pink before. And green. Holy shit, green? I got to buy the green ones, right? What could those possibly be? And I'm reading them, and I will tell you that at Trader Joe's the supplies are $5.50, $10.50 in the airport. But I'm looking, and then they have different containers, like a giant octagon of them, and I'm like, oh my god! And I actually took a picture of it and texted it to Karen. I go, see, I can't escape the supplies; they chase me. But I avoided the temptation of the supplies. And I asked the woman where to charge my phone. She goes, oh, we don't have those Best Buy machines. I go, what? She goes, yeah, it's the only airport that I know of that doesn't have them, but we don't carry them. But if you go to like gate B, there's a place where you can charge your phone. I said, great. So I walked down there, and what it is, it's the thing called Rapid Charger. And it's got a bunch of chargers hanging off it, and you pay $3 and charge your phone. But it's a super, super duper rapid charger. So it's like in a half hour, you get a full charge, no matter what kind of phone or what kind of your battery's in. So I plug it in, and you have to stand there and wait. So I go sit over, and I leave it there. It's like a fucking prank. I'm Alan Funt because people are looking by, and they're looking at my iPhone, and they're like looking around to see who's there because they could snatch this iPhone. Then they see me, and I just smile and point at them. Ha ha, it's my phone. Then they slink off because they realize that their better nature has been revealed. So finally, I wait the full half hour, and I let it charge, and I take it off. Nothing. It didn't charge at all. Like it went up. It did charge some. All right, it went to halfway, but it's supposed to charge the entire fucking battery. I was fucking furious. $3, you rape. I got raped by a fucking charger. Just jammed it into my ass. So I start walking around. I'm looking around, and I go to the food court. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I tell the lady, don't refer people to the rapid charger. It's bullshit. And I go to my gate. I'm waiting to get on the plane, and and first of all, by the way, people who fly. Follow rules. Could you follow rules now? Would you do that, please? Because I go to get on the plane. They call, gate A, and everybody walks up, and they keep turning people away, and they go, look, we said gate A, but children don't care. People just try to get on the fucking plane because they're horrible. So I get on the plane finally, and I didn't upgrade this time. I'm sitting in 19F right there at the window, leaned over, and there's nobody in the middle seat. It's amazing. Everything's great. I can't believe nobody's getting in, even though they told us it was a full flight. It's fucking unbelievable. And I try to catch the waitress's eye, and I'm like, hey, do me a favor. If we get full and there's a seat in the exit row, can you move me up there? But she won't come talk to me. She's busy talking to everybody else. But she was cute. I will tell you this, too, about Virgin. Everybody else has got those old women who've been in flights forever. Like, literally Orville and Wilbur Wright's sister is working for everybody else. These guys have hot waitresses. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So I'm sitting in my seat, and then sure enough, the last stragglers come in, and there's a woman, and she's going to sit next to me. And she looks like Snooki, but not as heavy. And she's got that tan and the weird hair, that top knot looking thing. And she gets in, and she sits down, and she puts her little cushy pillow around her neck. And I look at her, and I go, look, I got to apologize. I'm a giant. I'm probably going to squish you. I don't mean to do that. And she goes, between the 2 Xanax I took and the 2 drinks I had, I'm not even going to notice anything. Yeah. So literally, she might have been able to say, hey, date rape me in the air. But all I said was, I just went, good. I will race you to sleep. Because I got no interest in anything at this point. So I put in the tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds, and they start with the announcements, and I close the thing. And they do that thing where they warn you not to have your iPod on, and they come over and they tell you to turn it off. Fuck, it just drives me crazy. I don't know. Look, no iPod has ever crashed a plane. Quit warning me about it, all right? But still, they come around. If they see you got your headphones in, they'll give you the thing, and I fake that I turned it off. Always fake. Because I want to listen to my music. Again, as I've mentioned, I don't care if I cause a plane crash as long as I can listen to Tool while we're heading for the ground. So I turn the TV on just out of habit, and I lean back, and I put on ESPN, and I don't care. I drop like a fucking rock. This chick's already out next to me. She's on my shoulder. I'm out. We're sleeping in the air. I'm not even really moving. She's not moving. We're just fucking like rocks. We're gone. And I decided before I went to sleep, I go, you know what I'm going to listen to? Because I had brought like a plane mix. I had different playlists. Here's the playlist I decided on. I decided on listening to the This Is Your Fault playlist, which is, that's for a show that I did in year 2 about when Karen and I split up for a while, and I made a bunch of CDs, and I put together a list of songs that you can actually find on iTunes. It's an essential iMix under, if you look up the 40-Year-Old Boy, you'll see it. It's called This Is Your Fault, and it's the main CDs I would listen to, the main songs I would listen to as I drove around in my car and sobbed that my wife was gone. So I said, you know what? That's going to be great to sleep to. I'm going to throw that on and fucking crash out. So I throw it on and I go to sleep out. They don't wake me up for apple juice. I shine my apple juice. I am so tired. Me and Snooki are just napping there on the fucking plane. So they finally give you that announcement. You can feel the change in the plane where there's that, it changes levels and you're going to land and you kind of get shaken awake a little bit. And I should also say I had the TV on. The one position switch that I did do, I will lean on the chair in front of me and sleep. You ever do that? I'm all swished in, so I'll lean forward and I'll actually put my forehead on there and pray that the guy doesn't put the seat back and break my neck. Well, unfortunately, that's the one drawback from the Stormtrooper colon that you're flying in, is everything is hard plastic and there's a television there. So I may just get cancer of the face because I had the TV on and I leaned forward with my forehead. I was so tired, I just put my forehead right on the hard plastic, and it still hurts. Honestly, 4 days later, like right on the knot of my hairline, because I was leaning there with all of my weight as the fucking, the TV was shining. I could feel the heat of the picture in my face, but I didn't fucking care. I was so tired. So I'm sleeping. Then the plane finally shifts levels, and they give you that thing where they're starting our descent into California. And normally that's when I would switch to Tool, because that's what I like to do, is descend, and I listen to Tool on the way in. Well, instead, I kept on the This Is Your Fault playlist, because I wake up and I look outside to look at L.A., and I got to admit, man, I was feeling great because I had hung out with people that had made the scene to see me. And whenever I'm on the plane doing these trips, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. As I've told you, I'm supposed to be doing shows. I'm supposed to be traveling. I'm supposed to be entertaining people. And I'm supposed to be getting people come up to me and be friendly and nice and make a connection with me. I love it. I think it's fantastic. So all of those feelings kind of wash over me, and we're descending, and I'm getting back to Los Angeles. And I'm listening to This Is Your Fault. And I know my wife is going to pick me up. I'm going to see her. And it switches to a song because it's on shuffle, and it goes to a song called So Far Away by Carole King. Now, this song was not a song that was for me and Karen, really. It just reminds me of her, because what happened was one time I was on the road doing stand-up. It was in Michigan, and it was crazy snowy, and the snow was just blowing all over the place. The roads were, just really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? Torrential? That's a downpour, right? They were treacherous. There you go. The roads were treacherous, and there was drifting. And Karen and I had just moved in together, and I was missing her, and I'd been on the road for almost like a week. And I turned on the local radio, because that's what I would do whenever I would go in a town. I would listen to local radio. Like at night, I would listen to fucking Coast to Coast AM or whatever. But in the daytime, I would try to find music stations. And I flipped stations, and I found music started playing, and I left it on. And I heard Carole King sing, and I like Carole King, but I'd never really thought about it. And this song, So Far Away, came on. And the words are, so far away, doesn't anybody stay in one place anymore? Wouldn't it be so fine to see your face at my door? And driving away, being a week away from the woman I had just moved in with, and I'm driving, and I'd gotten crazy sad because I'm trying to, double grip, white knuckle the fucking steering wheel and stay on the street, hoping to survive to get home and find, see this woman who's eventually going to be my wife. So it made me really sad in the car, and it was very meaningful to me. So I'm on the plane, and that song kicks in, and I'm coming home from being an entertainer and having connected with people and done really well, and I'm feeling really good about where I'm at in my career, at least when I do the shows. And I know that I'm going to see Karen now at the airport, and I won't lie to you, I teared up on the plane. So I'm listening to the song, and I'm looking outside as we're descending into Los Angeles, and tears are running down my face. I'm not sobbing, but I'm letting tears roll down my face because that's what I do. And we're descending, and they start with the announcements. They're telling people to go ahead and do what they got to do and have the waitresses go and sit down. So the waitress comes by, and I'm looking out the window. I don't see her. But she can see that I got my headphones, my tweakedaudio.com/40 headphones in my ear. And she leans across and taps me on the shoulder because she's going to tell me to turn off my iPod. They do it all the time. And when she touches me, I kind of turn around, and I got tears all over my face. And she sees me, and she makes a really kind of like a concerned face. And she looks and she goes, "It's okay. It's okay." And puts her hand out like she's calming me down. She goes, "It's okay. We're going to land soon. It's fine." And then she walks off. I don't know if she thought that I was just scared of being in the air or sad that I missed Los Angeles. But, she had to lean across fake Snooki, who is now awake, and she leans over and taps me on the shoulder. I turn around, and I see fake Snooki's looking right at me, and this woman goes, "It's okay. It's okay. We'll be landing soon. We're fine." And then she looks at Snooki, and she tells her to turn her headset off and walks off. So I'm sitting there. I got tears on my face, and I got my tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds in my ears, and I look at Snooki, and Snooki's got this really mean look on her face as she's staring at me because she just got told to turn her iPod off, and the woman basically hugged me from across the aisle and told me it was okay. So Snooki's looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and I got tears in my face, but she's not. There's no soft spot for me at all, and I know exactly what's going through Snooki's head. She's looking at me, and she's like, "Wait, all that fat bastard had to do was cry, and he gets to do what he wants? What about the rest of us? Fuck, if this plane goes down because that motherfucker couldn't be bothered to do their job, I'm going to be fucking furious."
Oh my
You guys can get me at mikeandmikeschmidtcomedy.com. You guys can be my friend at facebook.com/the40year-old-boy. You can follow me at twitter.com at twitter.com/the40year-old-boy. You can follow our friend Lily Von Stupp at twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp. You can follow her at twitter.com/MNTs. And if you want to send her a personal note via the email and ask her just how late it is now and just what time we started and how late she's going to be up doing this, even though she's got to teach burlesque at 9 in the morning, you can write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Zazzle.com / 40-year-old boy. Please buy all his stuff.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. 10 o'clock p.m. is the time, folks. I've already given you the venue. Now all you need to know is what you're going there for and who you're going to see. Lily Von Stupp is the producer of that show. Hey, Lily.
Hi, Mike.
How are you?
Good.
Fantastic. I got no feedback from people about alternating the microphone because people were saying they couldn't hear you, but then I would put the microphone to your face, and I don't know if that made people go, "Oh, I can hear her now," but who knows? I have no idea.
Care.
They do. People care. People care a lot about a lot of stuff. I hear about it all the time. So last week, I understand, was a great success.
Yes, it was a lovely show.
That was a fantastic show for the 3 clubs at Santa Monica and Vine.
Rocked.
It certainly did. Certainly. I'm Sean Connery at the Monday Night Teas. So this week, that's a theme show last week, that Detroit Rocks show. And you generally don't do 2 theme shows in a row. That would be far too much awesome for this city to handle, correct?
Yes.
So what's up for this week?
We have a theme show.
What the hell?
We are saying goodbye to Iona Vibrator.
Iona Vibrator is hitting the trail.
Yeah, she's moving to Portland, Oregon.
And then,
Well, she's really moving to Salem, but
I see.
yeah.
Well, this is Iona Vibrator of the Oregon Vibrators.
No.
So she's heading back
She's from
home.
the California Vibrator.
Oh, I'm sorry, my fault. So this is a big move for her.
It is. She's heading to school.
Oh, all right. In Salem?
Yeah, she's going to
Witchcraft?
Yes, witchcraft.
She's going to learn.
Lesbianism and witchcraft. She's
That's
moving to
all right.
Oregon.
That's the place to go. So you're having a big to-do and a big...
We're having a huge going-away party, and we've partnered with a group that she belongs to called SWAC, Sealed with a Kiss Burlesque, and we're doing an incredibly wonderful show that I am really proud to be part of. It's really fun when you get to work with the troupe.
All right. So that'll be this week. That's Monday, July
18th. Tickets are almost sold out.
Wow. So people, if you want to get those tickets, you can get them now at brownpapertickets,
Yep.
correct? .com.
Yep.
Or also you can go to burlesque411.com for any information that you might
Actually,
need.
You can't. It's down right now.
Folks, don't go there. Please, as I've mentioned, do not go to burlesque411.com. Go to MondayNightTeas.com. Lily's she's a web entrepreneur. I always forget she's got so many different places to go. So go ahead and check that out and learn about tickets. Go ahead and pick out tickets for next week's show. That'll be fantastic. And also, the entire thing is sponsored by
Pucker Vodka.
Pucker Vodka, folks.
very exciting.
So go ahead and pick up some. And now, is that a flavored vodka?
It is. It's an intensely flavored vodka. They
Well,
have 4 flavors. Vodka grapefruitish, vodka cherryish, vodka limeish, and vodka something else-ish. I don't remember.
All right.
Yeah.
Do they have any vodkas from around the world, like maybe Hawaiian
I
vodka
don't believe they have any.
with
kind of
pineapple and
vodka.
white chocolate inside? Oh, that would be delicious.
I don't.
With a slimy bottle. So, all right. So go right now. It's a theme show. It's Goodbye Iona Vibrator, which, by the way, was actually the rework of Goodbye English Rose after Goodbye Norma Jean. He did Goodbye Norma Jean for Marilyn. He did Goodbye English Rose for Diana, and then he did Goodbye Iona Vibrator when Marilyn Chambers died. That Elton. So go to the show. It's almost sold out, but you can tickets up now, and then there's also standing room sometimes.
Yeah, there'll be some standing room at the door available.
But buy them ahead of time. You don't want to stand. Nobody wants to stand in that joint. So go check that out. So go to facebook.com/the40year-old-boy if you want to be my friend, and if you want to find out about the towns I'm going to, or sign up for the pages that want to bring me to their town, like Atlanta and Boston and Cleveland and Minneapolis and Chicago and Indianapolis. All still in play, folks. I've made some phone calls and some inquiries, still looking, hoping to book places in those towns. But the places that I do have booked now, tickets are on sale right now at Brown Paper Tickets for Mike Schmidt, The Success Is Not an Option Tour, North American Tour 2011. Is coming to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on July 29th at the Plays and Players Theater, 3rd floor. Tickets are available at brownpapertickets.com. You can find a link on my Facebook page or just go to brownpapertickets.com. That's Mike Schmidt in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's a couple of weeks, folks. And let's pick it up a little bit. Why not buy some tickets for Philadelphia? And remember that August 12th is on sale now for Mike Schmidt in New York City.
New York City?
Get a ticket. That's right. Come out and check the man out. That's me. I'm the man. Apparently, I refer to myself in the third person pronoun. That wasn't even retarded. So I'm coming out there and I'm playing in at the Producers Club Crown Theater in Midtown. I remember last week there was a lot of controversy about where it was. It's in Hell's Kitchen, folks. I found out that's exactly where it is, right in Hell's Kitchen. So come out there and then we'll all go over to the meatpacking district and look at guys in leather vests. I don't know what we'll do, but we'll come out and have a show August 12th, New York City, Midtown, Hell's Kitchen, the Producers Club Crown Theater. And also, please remember that we've added, as of last week, and there's new artwork for this page, too. If you'll go check that out, you'll see the new artwork. At Denver's Dangerous Theater, Denver, Colorado. Mike Schmidt comes to town. I believe it's September 16th. I believe Friday, September 16th. Tickets are available at brownpapertickets.com. And I will tell you this, Denver has responded. I've sold some tickets already right out of the box. That's exciting. And I know for a fact that I've got friends coming. As a matter of fact, there will be someone I've told a guy I've talked about often on this show is going to be there. I found out he's going to be there. That's going to be weird. I don't know how that's going to work, but he's coming to the show. So that'll be exciting. So go ahead and pick up tickets, like I said, for Philadelphia, July 29th, New York, August 12th, and Denver, September 16th. These are all Friday night shows. And tickets available at brownpapertickets.com. Go to facebook.com/the40year-old-boy. Become my friend. Become Lily Von Stupp's friend. Become David Hernandez's friend. And then buy a ticket to the city of your choice. And then sign up for another page and try to bring me to your town. I understand Bring Mike Schmidt to Malaysia is bursting with people right now, only because they want to get their hands on my precious information. Remember, you can follow me at twitter.com/the40year-old-boy. Remember to go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com. And we go to the Joe Business page there. Well, there's a spot for the Zazzle store where you can go and check out the mugs and mouse pads we have on sale. Go ahead and pick those up. I just found out that Zazzle has made me a power seller. I don't know why. I took the T-shirts off, and they said, hey, you're a power seller. Put your shirts back up. I think that's what it was. But regardless, they gave me like a badge to put up on my site or something. I don't know. They didn't know nothing about me. Don't they know I don't care? But go to Zazzle.com. They got cool stuff there if you're interested. Sold a Panda Boy mug today, just today, as a matter of fact. Remember, also on that page, you can go to the downloads page and you can buy the year 1, year 2, and year 3 sets individually, or you can buy them together as part of the Lord of the Schmidt set, which is, of course, the Fellowship of the Schmidt, Return of the Schmidt, and the Two Schmitties. That's all together, and there's a price break if you buy all 3 download sets together. That would be fantastic. In the upper left-hand corner of every page, what's up? You're making a face. No, oh, sure. I'm hilarious. And also there's a link there to tweakedaudio.com/40. I will tell you about them right now because right at the MikeSchmidtComedy.com on every single page in the upper left-hand corner, there's a donate logo or icon. If you click on that, you can donate to the show. You can make a one-time donation or you can make a subscription donation. If you subscribe, you can pay $2 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month to support the show and me and Lily and David and all of our artwork and travels. You can also make the one-time donation, as I've mentioned, and those are welcome. And this month, if you make a $20 donation, tweakedaudio.com will set you up with a cock ring watch. That's fantastic. If you make a $40 donation, tweakedaudio.com will set you up with a free set of tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds. And also, I will tell you, if you make a $50 or up donation, that's right, the entire non-premature ejaculation kit, the cock ring watch, the earbuds, the just the general thought of non-premature ejaculating, that comes in the box. Go ahead and open it up and make sure you put it right in your brain. It all works together in tandem to make you the best guy that you possibly can be in the sack. So make a donation to the show. And by the way, if you make a donation to the show, I will mention you on the show. People like Philip C. Philip C. made a donation. He's like, yeah, I'm in, man. I'm donating. And I said, great. So if you're going to do it, why wouldn't Kevin R. do it? Kevin R. said, fuck that, I'm stepping up. If Philip C.'s going to do it, I'm going to do it. All right, Kevin R., good for you, keeping pace with the Philip C.'s. And then Mickey C. said, you know what, the hell with that. I'm not going to get bested by Kevin R. and Philip C. I'm Mickey C., damn it, and I'm here to donate. And I said, fantastic. Step aside, I will take your cash, and I will say your name on the show. And they said, don't say my full name. I said, all right, Mickey C., Kevin R., and Philip C., I guess nobody wants me to say their full name. Who walks through the door? Mitchell Angel. Use my full name on the show, goddammit. I'm Mitchell Angel. I said, fantastic. That's how it's done, Philip C., Kevin R., and Mickey C. Look, I appreciate your donations, Mickey C. I love the fact that you love the show enough to contribute, Kevin R. And I'm thrilled that you want to go ahead and support me and Lily and David and all the things that we do, Philip C. But the fact that Mitchell Angel is allowing me to say his name might put him just a little up higher than the rest of you. I've got to be honest. It puts him on a pedestal a little higher than the C's and an R. The hell with that. You're all on the same pedestal. We're all in this together. Come on, we're all in this crazy lifeboat together. It's 4 men in a lifeboat and a Mickey. Mickey's with an I, so I think that's a lady. Or it could be a foreign Mickey from Malaysia. Sneaky! No, it's Philip C., Kevin R., Mickey C., and Mitchell Angel donated to the show, so thank you so much. I appreciate that. And if you donate to the show, remember that I will say you on here. And if you want me to say your full name, go ahead and write me and let me know that you want me to say your full name, and I will do that. I also want to throw a special shout-out. I don't know if it's a shout-out, really. I'm not a rapper. But you know what, folks? I have another podcast appearance to tell you about. I was on the South Philly Paulcast, which you can find in iTunes. I think it's just Google South Philly or South Philly Paul or Paulcast, and you will find it in iTunes. It was interesting. Paul was like, he had an idea for a fun thing that we were going to do, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do that, Paul. And he's like, no, it's okay. It'll be great. And so then I said, all right. Then I went on and I did it. And I think Paul might have realized that I'm kind of a jagoff and went, oh, don't do that. And so I throttled down, and then we had a nice conversation. So go ahead and listen to the South Philly Paulcast and listen to me talk and Paul pretend to care. It's so funny when I talk to because Paul's he's an entertainer. He's got his own podcast, but he normally does sketches and things like that. So for me and him to have a long conversation, I don't know him. He doesn't know me. He only knows me from this. And I don't know Paul from anything except for his show. So it can be an odd mix at times because all I do is talk. So then I start launching, and then they're sitting there in stunned silence because they can't believe I won't shut the fuck up. But it seemed to be okay. It went smoothly afterwards. There was some bugs in the beginning, but then luckily we hashed it out and got through, and everything seemed to be fine. So go check out the South Philly Podcast. I can't thank Paul enough. He's donated to the show in the past. He sent me a Phillies hat that I actually wore today to the taping here. So that's great. So go ahead and check out his show. And now I'm going home. I'm going to go home and eat a hamburger, I think. That's right. You're like, don't eat hamburgers, but it's still protein. It's fine. You can't eat fries. Fries are death, as we all know. By the way, how are you supposed to know what I'm eating? Are you eavesdropping on me? Is that what you're doing? You tap my phone? Tapping into my phone calls like I'm in fucking jail? You know, they listen to all your phone calls in jail. And by the way, here's a funny story. It's not funny, really. I'll make it funny. I'll try to. That maid who got raped in New York. See, here's a funny story. Stupid. That woman who got raped by the guy who ran IMF. Like I said, unbelievable. Because the guy from EMF raped her. Never mind. Terrible. So she got raped. So then this week I'm reading a story. There's like this long drawn out, because now they're saying she might have been a hooker or she might not have been a hooker, and it might have been consensual sex and no one knows. And supposedly like the day after she sort of got raped, she called a guy who's her fiance who's in jail in Arizona. And he's from, it's just this fucking weird story. It just keeps getting weirder. It's like if there's this many problems, and look, this is the problem with rape, okay? Is trying to prove it. Because inevitably they throw all of this mud at this woman, and I don't. Even if you don't believe one fucking iota of it, it doesn't matter. They're going to find one person in that jury who believes some of it, that she was wearing a headband the wrong way and she deserved to get raped. And fuck that. Fuck those people, man. You should hit them with rattan canes. There's no fucking way. If someone says that they were sexually assaulted, you believe them until the very end, until it was proved that it was wrong. Okay, that's the way it works. But as I'm reading this interview, they interviewed the guy. She has this fiance that she talked to, and supposedly they spoke in some weird dialect, so they couldn't translate it for 2 weeks. And it turns out that she may have said, this guy's got a lot of money. I know what I'm doing. Whatever the fuck. They're all trying to paint her with this horrible brush. But then they interview the guy, and they interview the guy who was her fiance in the jail. And dude, this guy, just shady, crazy shady. One of those guys that he's like the character Jamie Foxx would play on In Living Color. Like one of those dudes with like 9 jobs, and he's got like $40,000 in his car, and you don't know where it came from. Like and he's got an excuse for everything. And he's talking about how he came to this town from he came to America from wherever the fuck he's from, and he didn't know English. He didn't know what to do. And he was with this first woman who was his wife, and then he wound up with 2 other women, and whatever the fuck he's explaining it. But he learned his English from watching his woman used to call him CNN, because he learned his English watching CNN. And then he also learned it from Deal or No Deal and Price is Right. And I thought, man, if you are trying to defend yourself from charges that you were extorting money from somebody, maybe you shouldn't say that the only English you've ever learned in your life was from CNN, where you learned the guy's name, and then Deal or No Deal and The Price is Right, where you learned how to negotiate and extort money from somebody. Because this guy, like, you're accusing him of rape, but really this is just kind of a huge game of Plinko, really, when you get down to it. This guy's in a jail and he's pulling and he's yodeling. That's what he's yodeling all the way. The maid, that's what she did when she ran out of the room, because they learned their English from The Price is Right. The maid ran out of the room and they knew there was a problem because she just ran down the hallway going, yoda, 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 yo. And she plummeted off and there was sperm everywhere. Oh, it was fucking grim, folks. By the way, if you're ever in The Price is Right and you're playing the yodeling game and there's sperm everywhere, you are playing it wrong. You are playing that game wrong. As entertaining as it was for the home viewer, I gotta be honest with you, you are playing that game absolutely fucking wrong, folks. Drew Carey is just shielding his eyes. Nobody's interested in you sperming all over the goddamn yodeling. Right? I am just stupid enough to think that when people listen to me and they listen to the show, they should take my honesty and go, oh, wow, how refreshing his unvarnished honesty is. And the fact that he's willing to have a scorched earth policy and have no friends or no fucking future is so refreshing and great. But then they'll say to me, hey, do you need somebody raped with a steak? I go, yes, I do. Done. They'll take care of it for me. Thanks, Snake Rape. Oh, no one listens to show, bro? Wonder why? Wonder why no one listens to show, bro? I don't want to listen to show, bro. Please. Snake Rape, do it, do it, do it, do it.